Hello and welcome back to another night of ESC action. I am James Reach 42 Davis,
And I am Devin the Doc O'Connor.
and we are here to bring you another night of League of Legends action as Miami Varsity Esports takes on Northeastern in what is sure to be a really close match between two of the top teams in this conference.
Yeah, I mean, and I have to be honest. Usually, I try to remain pretty unbiased, but my brother does attend Northeastern University, so this is a personal one for me. So I'm excited to see how this one goes. Hopefully, it's a close match, and it's going to be great.
Yeah, I mean, having looked through all of the info on Northeastern's roster this spring, they've got an incredibly strong squad. They've been they've got a challenger level jungler these
Yeah.
last couple of weeks, so there is a possible some tough roads ahead for Miami. But I was talking to NTSP about an hour before broadcast, and he said, my main goal is to play like a grandmaster player for 2 hours tonight.
Yeah, and we've seen miracles happen, and League is a great game because regardless of skill, things can really take a turn. So hopefully we see some of that tonight. Hopefully we see maybe some Baron flips, some steals, and some fun picks because that is going to be what really defines this series.
Yeah, I think in League of Legends at this level, a lot of these close matchups against top level teams really can uh, be decided by who makes the least number of mistakes.
Yeah.
I know that last year, one of the last times I've casted, it's been a minute. I think one of the last times I can recall casting was when we played against Buffalo last spring, and we managed to take a win from that, which was our very first win against Buffalo in program history with our League of Legends team. We've always had difficulty with them since the foundation of the ESC and since we've been a varsity program in 2016. But the Buffalo squad last year was looking very, very strong,
Mhm.
but they just in that regular season they kept making mistakes, kept trying to flip Baron, kept trying to flip these objectives, and Miami was able to capitalize off of it. And obviously, we've got a much different looking squad this year, but I still think that there is the foundation of talent to really capitalize on possible mistakes that a Northeastern squad could make in a match like tonight's.
Yeah, and that's what really separates good players from somewhat mediocre players is being able to, latch onto these mistakes of the enemy team and really make a difference. Because League is a game about snowballing. It's taking, these little slip ups and making them into something bigger, kind of like a snowball rolling down a hill. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's really what we want to see tonight. Whether that be from Northeastern or Miami, that's a different story. And you will see. So hopefully everything goes well, and I'm looking forward to see some unique picks. We saw, last week, Miami pulling out some really interesting things. Particularly one that comes to mind. Not to spoil anything, but the Ivern mid is one that I would love to see. But I mean, there's no guarantee. I think a lot of this is really based on comfort. And that's personally, I mean, over anything meta, that's what I prefer
Yeah.
is a champion that you're comfortable on and you can play without really having to worry about mechanics. Just doing your thing and remaining calm is a big part of being successful.
I mean, Quiegart has always been very, very good on the control and support style mids.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I think a lot of teams looked at his Vagar and his Anivia last year and worked really, really hard to shut that down. But I think in the pick ban phase, but I think one of the things that he's really underrated on is his shielding characters.
Yes.
He was able to run Oriana, he was able to run Karma was something that was pretty big. Um, Last year more so than this year, even though Karma was a little bit busted
Oh,
in this
she's
season.
gross.
Yeah,
Yeah.
although probably a little bit more tuned in the support role at the moment, even if Malignant has seen a couple of nerfs, which was one of her core items.
Yeah.
But I would say there are still enough strong itemization options that we probably can't rule out a
Yes.
Karma. I would probably just say that I would say, from what I know, the only champion I would necessarily rule out us picking tonight would probably be Yumi because
Yeah.
uh, Valencilla, sorry,
Names are hard.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
I don't know that one myself.
yeah.
Guess half the time.
Jan has apparently made a promise this year that she is not going to pick Yumi once.
I like that.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan because that champion single-handedly ruins games and it's not fun to cast. But speaking about the karma,
yeah.
you said that you like. I mean, we've seen it a lot
Hmm.
in the support role, more towards the bottom lane. In terms of itemization, that people are often picking up. Shirelia's
Mm,
battle song, because in the new itemization changes, it gives a lot more AP than it did previously, so you can get a bit more damage and still get the benefit of the mood speed buff. But when when you pilot it more mid, and we've also seen it top in pro play, people often opt towards first item Leandries. Some people will go the Horizon Focus, which recently received a very big buff.
yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a very versatile pick, and one that can be flexed to a lot of different roles. Gives you a lot of kind of like mystery in the draft as to where the rest of your picks are going. So hopefully we get to see something like that
Yeah.
tonight.
So once again, we may see a couple of flex picks. We may see an Ivern pop up. We may not. Um, but really, it's up to what this draft is that we are apparently about to flip over to in just a second. Um, I would also say, looking through previous drafts, I would probably expect Smurfed on the Northeastern side of things to be playing either a Vi, a Xin Zhao, something like a brand.
Maybe a Lilia too. We did see that in the
Possibly, yeah,
past.
possibly a Lilia. I think Lilia is probably pretty strong with the current core of the Rylai's,
Yeah.
Leandries, the Rift Maker. Yeah, yeah, that one.
Yes,
uh,
and we do see an Orianna ban from the side of Northeastern. Really smart ban, in my opinion. Uh, Quagert has made great use of that pick in the series preceding
Fine.
this.
I don't need more enemies.
Oh, and we're seeing the Senna and the Varus are not going to be seeing any play this match, which I definitely see why Northeastern would target away NTSP's Varus. Uh, but I'll also say, I think that the last time that I saw us playing that, we were playing some on-hit Varus, and I think we may have won that match,
Yes.
but it was a struggle.
It wasn't really because of the
Yeah,
bars. I'll
fair
say
enough.
that. I mean, while he does offer some utility and burst damage with his passive and his ult, I think it's more. I was more impressed by the Ash game. I'll say that. NTSP's Ash really did, uh, you know, make a lot of moves in terms of the enchanted crystal arrows, and we are going to see that first pick of Karma. No surprise there, slamming that in. And while I do think it might be, like I said, it was a flex pick, I do think it will be going to the bot lane for
Mhm.
support.
Yeah, and this Maokai being hovered on the side of Eastern, I would believe that that would probably be a support pick as well,
Did
even though there have been some changes.
Yeah, so they did change his mana and a couple other things to make him a bit weaker, but he still is currently the highest win rate support champion. I feel like fundamentally, just the way that the game works right now, he benefits so much from the new support item, and he is just really, really impactful.
Ah,
Kaisa, a pick we're not seeing as much of nowadays,
hmm
did have a lot of priority kind of towards the middle and beginning of Worlds last year, but not hasn't really benefited a lot from the item changes. On hit isn't really seeing a lot of success. Neither is crit. Just not a champion you don't see a lot of. And the Gwen locked in from the side of Miami, I imagine that would be going jungle because Evil Lobster has expressed his love for Gwen jungle in the past and played it very recently in the series that came before this.
I mean, that would definitely be an interesting pickup here. And that still retains some of the flexibility in Miami's draft so far. The Ezreal is pretty solid, and Ezreal Karma is a very effective poke bot lane if that is what
Yes.
they end up going with.
Yeah, can push, can play safe, has a lot of versatility. Ezreal, a very big comfort pick for NTSP. And then, like you said, the Vi, I really like that lock in here. Gives a lot of lockdown and can deal with some of the more tanky members of Miami's side.
Yeah, I mean, I think NTSP is really going to have a tough time here dealing with the amount of engage options that this Northeastern squad is going to have, because he's going to have to be able to try to put damage up over this beefy front line that is going to be doing everything it can to engage on him.
Yeah, I mean, look at the CC already from the side of Northeastern. The Maokai is one thing, but Vials and Q is just adding on to that. It's going to make it really hard to kind of play out these fights and remain untouched as an Ezreal, even with the E and the extra peel of a Karma Shield. So, got to play very carefully and, remain cognizant of all the cooldowns on the side of Northeastern. We are going to see the ASOL band. Not a pick we see, again, a lot of plan, but it did just receive a massive buff. Incredibly strong right now, but it had to get hot fixed, actually, because of how much success it was seeing. But I don't really see Quagert piloting that one. but I don't know. I mean, anything, like I said, anything's up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, it is an infinite scaling control mage option. So,
Yes.
that is something that would be very potent in the hands of Quagert, but is not necessarily something that we have seen a lot of out of this Miami squad so far.
Uh-oh.
Ooh, the Hue has been chosen.
Ooh, and Miami has a quite a history with Hue because, well, Quayrad has done a phenomenal job in the past of shutting down Hue in lane. We've seen him truly been able to do a lot against Miami in team fights. Just it's hard when a lot of things are happening around you. It's hard to just Oh, there's the Iron Hover.
Hmm?
Um, it is hard. Oh, it is
And
going
it's
to be
real.
locked in. Yeah, love that. But as I was saying, the Hue, it's hard to if you're dodging all these skill shots in a fight. It's hard to keep everything in mind, and then a Hue QW just spawns on top of you and you're one shot. So
All right. And the Aatrox in there for Paul D. Springer. I know that is a heavy comfort pick for him up
yeah,
there. One of the main characters that he has been playing in solo queue this year.
yes.
Every time that I've gone into the King Library practice space, seems like I'm always seeing Paul D. Springer playing some Aatrox.
Yes, and I do love the Yone counter matchup. Does play really well into the Aatrox, and I believe Northeastern's top laner does have some previous games on this Yone pick, but it is. I mean, unlike some other counter picks in top lane, it is not super cut and dry. You do have to be a very skilled player to play it out, but if you do end up getting ahead, it's very hard to match you inside lane. So I am a little worried for Paul D. Springer, but if he's able, I'm sure he's very familiar with the matchup. It's a pick that is often played in solo queue into the Aatrox, so
Hmm.
I'm sure he's had plenty of experience to know what he should do and what he shouldn't do during this laning phase in order to stay relevant. So I'm excited. I think Miami got a very very good draft in terms of picks that they wanted, but not a lot of surprises yet. And hopefully we'll see, coming later into the night, some more unorthodox picks. But nothing's wrong with comfort,
True.
and it should be great.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of interesting possibilities here with Miami's draft. I would definitely say just looking at it, apart from the Yone pick, Northeastern's draft should be easier to pilot because once again, it's sort of Maokai and Vi creating front back situations where the Kaisa can get over the top pretty easily with Kaisa ult,
Hmm.
and Hue can just sit in the back line and just throw QQs and CC and all sorts of weird stuff, you know, from long range. I think Yone getting that counter pick into the Aatrox that creates a possibility space where if the Yone gets really, really far ahead of the Aatrox, then Northeastern has an opportunity to win the game off of the split push.
Yes.
But they've also opened themselves up to the possibility that if Yone falls behind or gets out of this game, I would say that Yone as a side laner is not going to be very impactful.
Yes, I would agree. And until he gets, I mean, if he is kind of set behind, until he gets kind of his core items online, he is pretty useless. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to rule out a Yone just because of the way that champion is designed and how much damage he can provide and CC. But it is pretty. You know, it's kind of like you're getting. It's like he's like softly swatting you with
Yeah,
his
yeah.
autos if he's put behind. And I mean, an Aatrox ahead is quite a terrifying thing. So yeah, hopefully this is going to be a really good series. We want to see a lot of action, and I'm very excited.
Yeah. So I think we will take a quick break while we wait for the spectator delay to run through on the League of Legends client, and we will be right back soon.
Cool.
Hello and welcome back. We have had a couple of client issues, so we are starting about 4.5 minutes into the game, which means we have missed the first jungle rotation. And Kai'Sa First Blood onto Miami's Karma, which is a little tragic, but we will join this game as it happens.
Yes. Sorry about that. Not much we could do, right? Give spaghetti code, you know how it is. But hopefully Miami can bounce back. We do see the Hui pick being as impressive as ever in the mid lane.
Yeah, interesting that Quiggert has opted to go with the Doran Shield start here on Ivern. Probably looking to survive this early game and look to figure out ways to enable, this Gwen in this 2v2 fights. Ivern Gwen I think could be very oppressive. The Ivern Q enabling the Gwen to really get in there. The shield providing the slow. A lot of really good synergy there. And also, yeah, I see the vision with the Ivern Aatrox too. It's a way for Aatrox to get another opportunity to close the gap and really get in there. But really looking at these early purchases, Miami is going to be looking to play sort of weak side mid, weak side top. Even as Quiggert has a mild CS, they're even on CS there.
Yeah, and the early Void Grubs by the Vi, not really a super big surprise. One of the best junglers at taking those early games. We don't see the Dragon trade by Miami. I think it is a little bit difficult for the Gwen to take these camps a bit early. She's kind of weak. But Yone is going to be taking a bit of a tower shot up in the top lane. Not exactly ideal, but he is a Yone, so not too much to worry about. Evil Lobster hovering the top side here, scouting around, maybe looking for an angle on the top side. There is a bit of a push.
I mean, I would figure just trying to raw gank on... Oh, okay, well this kind of worked out, but also we're getting some action in the bot lane as well, as Director Camera doesn't quite know what to do with the fact that Maokai has dove in on top of all of the other dashes happening up in the top lane, and NTSP almost loses his life off of the Maokai Ignite and the Kai'Sa Ghost. NTSP having to burn both of his summoner spells on that engagement, while Evil Lobster burned the Gwen Ghost up there in that top lane scuffle as well. So a lot of summoner spells burned, a lot of lane advantage created there in the bot lane with NTSP so low, but really not in a position to reset at this point.
Yeah.
They've spent that money on the tier, which is a great pickup. But, that means that if they go back now, they can buy like a control ward?
Yeah, not much. So yeah, and well, Ezreal is a pretty relatively safe laner. I mean, probably one of the safest. It's just a Maokai. He can just kind of press W, Q you back. So if you make one kind of more misstep, you are already low. You're going to see a bit more trading in the top side. Yone just Eing, Wing, nothing out of the ordinary. And we're looking at CS numbers. It does seem relatively even. Paulie Springer up a little bit in CS in a counter matchup. We'd love to see that. But yeah, not too much. And despite the early death in the bot side, NTSP is doing very well to keep the CS numbers high, or at least on equivalent to that of carry.
Yeah. I guess one question that I've sort of got in mind. Oh, okay. As we've got an engagement here, Etchen here for Northeastern is going to look to press this lane state advantage and clear out this red ward, creating space for Vi to really work her way into this bot lane area. With the way in which these tri-brushes have been reworked and the jungle has sort of been shifted here in this new season, there are a lot more gank paths into the bot lane than there used to be in last year's season. So Vi is opting to go for the dragon off of all of this early bot lane control, which I think is a pretty good choice,
Yeah.
Pushing that objective advantage, both on getting the grubs and the dragon, is going to set Miami pretty far behind. Oh, and clearing the blue ward on the red ward,
Yes.
so that, Northeastern knows exactly where Miami's pressure could be at the moment. There's no mystery at all.
Yeah, and this way, it's starting to hurt. Has the Lost Chapter completed, basically infinite mana in lane as long as it's up. It's looking a little scary. I mean, the early objective prio from Northeastern is something you really like to see because it does give you that kind of insurance for the late game. You want to just be stacking as much of these buffs as possible in order to just give you the best chance.
Now, here's something really big. Northeastern is the first to rotate towards the second grub spawn, as they've even drug their support up to help fight this off. And it does look as if Miami is responding in kind by dragging Valencia up, but Paldi Springer is not really in a position to engage early, and they're Northeastern has this vision line pushed pretty far up into Miami's jungle. It's going to be hard for them to fight through all of this without, possibly getting picked. So I think that this might be a 6 grub game here for Northeastern as they use the Yone ult, engage onto the Karma, get a little bit of help here off of Evil Lobster. Evil Lobster does eventually go down through the Gwen W. A little bit tragic there, but Quigard is looking to re-engage with the Daisy. The double engage, the triple engage off of all of these dashes out of Northeastern are going to make life a lot harder for Quigard as well. Miami's mid laner going down. It is a 2-for-0, plus probably all of these Void Grubs in this 4v3 fight.
Yeah, face checking 4 members of Northeastern, not the greatest idea. Paldi Springer might be looking to see if he can catch one on the recall here, but it is really still difficult to walk into this team.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of map control that the Maokai saplings create just by virtue of existing. I mean, they're not chunking for huge amounts of health, but they are giving vision. They are creating some soft crowd control by slowing down the possible, engagement of Paldi Springer. And, they're creating a lot of space there for Northeastern to finish off that objective, grab all 6 Void Grubs, which could be essential for this split push Yone to do some really strong damage here as we progress towards the mid game.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna, make any crazy calls, but I think that Yone hasn't had the most impressive team fight. He did with kind of 2 ults this game already, but
Oh,
hold on.
Oh, Paldi Springer looking for the solo, decides that Yone just has too many movement options, decides to back off and clean up the lane instead. I don't believe that Miami knew where was hovering during all of that. So Paldi Springer may have been trying to avoid a gank and all of that, but Qgert just absorbing a lot of Hui poke there in the mid lane, trying to clear as safely as possible from the Ivern bush. And Ziyang used the TP and is looking to use his health advantage to force Paldi Springer back.
I think Evil Lobster was spotted. Hold on. Oh, he's just going to use the R to disengage. Good call. Good try to lane gank there from Evil Lobster. Got to push some type of move just to respond to a Northeast's pressure.
Yeah, I just worry a lot. I think Evil Lobster is going to do very well on this Gwen jungle pick, as long as they can play off of the Ivern and off of the Karma. But I think that if, without initial crowd control out of Paldi Springer in a top lane gank, the Gwen doesn't have that many ways to really slow an opposing laner down. And so I think some of the gank possibility is a little bit limited, although Yone has put himself in a really rough spot here, teleporting back into the spot. Paldi Springer missing a couple of these knockups, though, still going to go down. Evil Lobster claims the kill. That's just good teamwork there from the top and jungler, really trying to prove me wrong, investing a lot of resources into having that happen.
And it looks like Resita dive.
As the Maokai ult goes out, and I believe so did the Vi ult. A TP coming back. Etchin dies on the back end of it. Kaisa ults forward and gets the kill onto NTSP, and it looks as if Smurf D has Vi queued away. Qgert is unable to chase that off, probably wouldn't have the damage even if he caught up. So they are going to let that be a 1-for-1 trade, and I think one tower plate went down as well in the favor of Northeastern. So a slight gold advantage, I think, for
about a
the
1K gold lead for Northeastern. But keep in mind they do have the first dragon and all 6 grubs, so that is going to make quite a difference, and is worth noting. But it is a little bit of a disaster for Northeastern. Could have gone a lot worse, but not the dive you're looking for. It is a little bit difficult to dive a Karma.
A pretty early Daisy here on the re-engagement. Quigger decided that he didn't want to eat the poke anymore. Eats the Hui ult into the QW, I believe, and almost dies. But trying to force whatever pressure he can onto this opposing laner with the Daisy. I think he might just die here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like him walking up. It's a little overconfident. Hui has a very deceptively bursty, so you got to keep in mind. And Yon fully stacked lethal tempo. You don't really want to challenge him right now. It's going to be another dragon picked up for the side of Northeastern, really trialing these objectives. And let's see what soul. It's going to be Ocean Soul, so gives you a lot more sustain. For the Yone, it's good. Helps some side lane. And it's just extra healing. Really
Hmm.
good for the Maokai.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not the worst soul, but it's not. Like obviously there are better options, but I wouldn't be complaining.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if Miami can figure out a way to get into the objective game, and Paul D. Springer's got a really sick angle here on the Yone, uses the ult in order to get some move speed to try to chase this Yone down. Should have the kill here, does. Okay, so
Paulie Stringer
yeah,
really showing his prowess in this counter matchup in the top side of the map, really keeping Miami somewhat in the game. So I think if Miami is going to win the game, I mean, we didn't really expect uh, uh, a Ezreal Karma lane to really carry a game, but yeah, I think it is going to be through the bot side. Good ult by NTSP to clear the wave.
yeah, and there's the double engage that I was talking about during the draft. The Maokai and the Vi setting up the Kai'Sa really, really well. Able to use the Kai'Sa ult to facilitate the tower dive a little bit more,
Tank some
close in the
shots.
range, and just really layer a lot of damage onto the Ezreal, whose cleanse was down for the duration of that play.
Yeah, unfortunately, with the Kai'Sa shield that she gets from going in, she can tank up a couple tower shots, and then they can just juggle the aggro pretty easily after that. So it is going to be a kill on the side um, of Northeastern. Really well played to kind of find the vulnerability here in the bottom lane, even though it is kind of difficult historically to gank
Ooh.
in Ezreal.
All right, we've got another duel up here in the top lane. Yone putting himself in a pretty awkward situation again, but Paul D. Springer opting not to spend any resources on that. This Vi is hovering in the top side, but so is Evil Lobster, burning the Ghost pretty early, using the Gwen ult to try to slow down the Yone, but Yone has committed Flash and ult to escape from this very dangerous situation, trying to get a little bit of damage on the Paul D. Springer, but this is the lethality Tiamat item, which I do not.
Profane Hydra, I believe?
Okay, the Profane Hydra
Yeah.
does a lot of damage.
Yeah, it does scale with missing health. Vi is here. And Paulie Springer's just going to be taken down. Really well played from Smurf to rotate top, trying to cover the Yone from the earlier jungle pressure. And it's really unfortunate. Northeastern really getting all these with the double Void Grubs, just being able to push their leads and get these structures in basically every lane. So looking kind of grim.
Yeah, I mean, the Smurf on the side of Northeastern is playing this early game very, very well. And I will say, I believe we have sort of transitioned out of the early game solidly into the middle game as the bot lane tier 1 turret for Miami has gone down. So they have lane swapped their Ezreal and Karma towards the mid lane to try to pick up safe waves where they can. And we're going to see if Quigard is going to be able to match Hue here in a little bit. Although, Hue is going to take a little bit of time to push up on this. Evil Lobster trying to zone out Icon a little bit, try to create a little bit more space for this Ezreal Karma, but they've not been able to really enforce themselves with all of the poke options that they've got from these two characters. They're not doing the damage that they needed to be doing at this point of the game, and the enemy Kai'Sa is just so far ahead.
Yeah, it's around a 3K gold lead, maybe a little bit larger than that. And if I was Northeastern, I would just force something. As soon as some objective comes up, I mean, you have pretty much Prow in every lane. Kai'Sa sitting on 2 items comfortably. Ezreal not even on his second. So, I mean, you've got the gold leads pretty much where you want them, mostly focused on this Kai'Sa. And it's really going to ensure that you transition pretty well into the late game to match the Gwen and the Aatrox, because I don't see, as much as I do think Gwen scales really well into the late game, she's similar to Yone in the sense where if she is set behind, it is kind of harder for her to make these plays in team fights. It's not like a Cassante where you can just kind of carry no matter what. It's still really, it is difficult. You need items to control.
And Miami here getting in an air. Tried to pick up this giant wave bot side. Although, wait, I mean, they got the shutdown off the back of it, so maybe it wasn't an error at all. But one thing that I was noticing during those last 2 or so minutes was that this dragon is spawning, very, very soon, and Miami was positioned forward into Northeastern's jungle, a good kill there from Paul D. Springer, by the way, to sort of take a lot of vision control around Northeastern's blue buff. But in exchange, they basically sacrificed that giant wave bot.
And top. Look at, I mean,
Yeah, and top
Yone
is
is
doing
just
that now.
splitting for free.
Yeah.
So it does cost them. It's
Yeah.
not like that cross map is without any kind of pain. The Rift Herald does get the charge, not empowered because no one was driving it. But you know, despite that play from Miami, Yone gets a lot in the top side here. With the grubs, he can just kind of push. I don't think he's gonna be able to fully kill the tower, which is kind of a saving grace. Oh, he might. Yeah, right
he
here.
is now. I mean,
Yeah, now.
Plus the support showing up is going to save his bacon.
For some reason, I thought that was a member of Miami there.
No.
But yeah, he is going to get the turret in the top side, and it just makes Miami more vulnerable. If they are to, you know, have a team fight go south, there's just more angles for Northeastern to end the game or potentially get an early inhib here. So it is still not a great situation. And while Evil Lobster and Paul D. Springer are doing their best, Ezreal is set really far behind. If we could look at the gold graphs here, potentially, or the numbers with the gold on scoreboard, I'd imagine that this Kai'Sa has quite a significant lead.
Yeah, I mean, that's 2 full items against 1.5. I mean, the good news is that tier is pretty well stacked up there for the Ezreal, so once that does get online, that's going to be a good secondary source of damage for the Ezreal. But, you know, Kai'Sa already has 2 major on-hit items in her inventory and is looking to build into more. As we've got another duo here in the bot. Ooh, Evil Lobster getting caught out by 4 members is going to burn Ghost to try to escape out of it. Might be able to regroup with the Karma, try to get him shielded. This clearing the red ward, I'm okay with that, but it's a little bit greedy.
Yeah.
And it's one thing that I'm noticing, you know, I was trying to talk about it with the bot lane play where the Vi ended up dying, was that Miami is setting themselves into positions where they are intentionally making a sacrifice somewhere to try to pick up an advantage elsewhere. And then they are not respecting the fact that they are sacrificing that resource, going back and trying to pick up that advantage where it is, and then getting punished for it.
Yeah, I mean, and that is a strategy that isn't super unfamiliar. Like, plenty of teams, plenty of very successful teams have utilized this. Often dubbed the faker 5-man taunt. He will go somewhere and look like he's overextended and get a lot of resources from the enemy team, as we saw the Hui invest the teleport towards the top side to kind of see if they can lock down that Gwen, because that means Baron if there's no jungler on the side of Miami.
Ooh, Paul D. Springer getting dove here by 2 ultimates, 1 out of the Vi, 1 out of the Maokai. Really proving why Maokai support is still such an impactful pick. That's a full screen root, full screen snare for a long time.
Yeah.
You know,
and the Mantra Q, while it does a lot of damage, is just kind of, I mean, they got the tower, they got what they came for, and it's, I mean, 2 items completed on the Gwen, but it's just kind of looking dark for Miami. The Hui is just going to keep getting stronger. The Kai'Sa, don't even have to mention that champion can 1v5. Evil Lobster on a scuffle here on his own Raptors, so kind of losing control of their own jungle. And that tends to happen when you're in this situation. I'm interested to see if Northeastern is going to keep playing this really slow, or they might try to force something. Baron is up. And I can't really... I think the next break will be spawning in around 1:30. So I imagine there will be quite a scuffle over that. It is going to be sole point for Northeastern. And if they're just able to continue stacking uncontested, it is going to be just really rough. So
yeah, my thought would be that if there is a way that Miami can this next dragon in exchange for a more powerful objective like Baron, or like maybe 2 turrets top or something, that may be a worthwhile trade because it is not the actual soul, it's just the point leading to soul.
Yeah, they don't necessarily have to contest.
Yeah, it was very important that Miami won the last dragon because it gave them roughly 5 more minutes of breathing room, more time to scale on this Ezreal. But, you know, that's a big if. And, you know, Miami can't just let the dragon go away for free. Smurf D looking to steal this 5-man red buff now that Baron's gone out. And, oh my goodness, the Ivern ult goes out. Kai'Sa diving in, manages to get the kill onto Gwen. Yone ults into 3, gets chunked a little bit, but they're not quite having enough damage to layer on top of this the mistake Yone is trying to make, and Belencila almost going down, finally gets finished off by the flash Q out of the Maokai. Yone diving in, a little bit ambitious on his side. So far we've got a 2-for-2 team fight. Miami trying to chase off with the Aatrox ult. Might be able to get something going here onto the Vi if they have vision, but no, Vi decides to Q away. Kai'Sa trying to push the advantage here onto the Ezreal, and I think if that W had landed, that might have been lethal. I mean, eventually, off of the Q resets, basically. He's so far fed. Oh my goodness, Smurfy almost going down to Paul D. Springer off Quigart's shields, but it's not quite enough. Hwei ult whiffs, so that's good news for Miami, but there's still a lot of damage coming out from Northeastern here that Miami's really got to be careful here, or they're going to lose both of these very important members at this very crucial time.
Yeah, and well, it definitely was an overextension from Northeastern. You know, they fighting in that angle wasn't really what you wanted, and it showed. Miami was able to pick a few members of Northeastern, not really the important members, not the bounties, but were able to collect the support and the Yone. They do end up picking up the Ocean Drake on the side of Northeastern. That's going to be crucial, like we mentioned. And Miami's runway is getting slimmer and it's just getting shorter.
Yeah, I mean, once again, I was saying that, you know, Miami has the breathing space to trade away that dragon, but they really didn't get anything off of the back of that. I mean, they got a little bit of CS there for their trio of surviving members, you know, Paul D. Springer among them. But, you know, they weren't able to push any of the side waves. They weren't able to apply any vision pressure. And now Northeastern, steals the blue, gets the vision plant bug guy. Gets the gets the Scuttlecrap there in River, and gets the red ward forward. So, you know, good on Miami to be clearing off some of this vision while they can. But Northeastern is really setting themselves up to continue accelerating the pace of this game and accelerating their gold lead.
And just looking at items here, think about, I mean, Vi was earlier transitioning from more of a bruiser build, you know, the more standard build, but look at the Serpent's Fang value in this game. Miami has a Karma.
This is ambitious.
Oh, this is risky. This could be the game. Are going to be taking this on Vision. I mean, if Miami doesn't, this is, oh god.
Yeah, there's a lot happening here as Northeastern commits the Maokai ult to try to catch Miami in rotation. Yone ult comes in over the top, hits onto the Aatrox and the Ivern, does a lot of damage on the back end of that. The Kai'Sa pushed all the way forward, ends up dying from Evil Lobster's ult. And, Aatrox is getting some resets here, but the Hwei ult and the Vi ult are managed to take out one of Miami's remaining members. Gwen trying to fight here with Paul D. Springer. The lifesteal is insane out of this Aatrox as he almost is able to solo. He does solo the Vi. He gets the Hwei as well. That is psychotic. Yone coming back here into the top tri-brush. Evil Lobster surviving with just about 0 health. The Bork isn't quite enough to do it, and this Aatrox is running rampant. Full credit to Paul D. Springer on that team fight for, you know, salvaging a bad situation. Great awareness out of Evil Lobster, using that last bit of that Gwen ult to finish off carry there on the Kai'Sa, getting a gigantic shutdown there for Miami, and, you know, possibly making this playable even as we still have a 4K gold deficit.
Yeah, I mean, they were down, must have been like 8K gold before that fight. And despite all of that, Paul D. Springer just says, no, I don't care about gold. You know, he just goes in and he Aatroxes it. And he gets the resets, he gets everything he needs, and it really is just kind of greedy from the... It looked great. Listen, the setup looked great from the side of Northeastern with the Maokai ult, with everything. And they are going to just run it back. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, as that the control ward is still blocking off some of the vision out of Northeastern, but Maokai commits one of their own control wards here. Evil Lobster going to clear out that backside vision. Maokai commits the ult again. First verse, same. The second verse, same as the first. As the Hwei ult, I believe, does whiff.
It does.
So that is a pretty big resource used there. And Yone gets a 2-man ult. Probably ends up going down in the process because that man is squishy. Aatrox getting the reset and the self-heal. They shouldn't. Oh my goodness, they need Grievous Wounds so bad. Dude, the Sundered Sky. Not the Sundered Sky, the shield damaging item just isn't doing enough against this Aatrox, as Paldi Springer is living where he should not. And that's a Baron play here from Miami. Oh my goodness.
Unless Sway has anything to say about it, but listen, what is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Like, any Northeastern running back, nearly identical scenario to what we just saw. We saw just basically a mirror team fight, and it went even worse for Northeastern. I mean, and this time, as much as I think the Aatrox really did a lot, Gwen just ran that fight.
Oh, yeah.
She is in a spot where she can really, I mean, she has the item, she has the gold that she needs in order to just run these team fights. If you are able to position better, we saw the Hueo go wide, and even with the two-man Yone, maybe it was a three-man, probably a two-man Yone engage, it just wasn't enough. Gwen applying the 1,000 cuts. It looks like another
big pick.
Maokai is caught. It's a lot of the CC on Northeastern gone. And they are posturing for this dragon. Is going to be up in around 12 seconds. Has a quick recall.
There it
able
is.
To
two-man
reposition.
TP top.
Oh yeah, I mean they have to stop this split. It might just be an inhib. The two-man push. Really well played cross map from the side of Northeastern. You know, still managing to still apply some pressure despite those two disastrous team fights.
Yeah.
And Miami, really good job just staying in the game and staying relevant despite a huge deficit in goal.
Yeah, I mean, great recognition here from Northeastern. You have two awful team fights in a row. You can't have this Yone in team fights.
Yeah.
He is not going to have the same impact that this Aatrox is having. So you need to utilize the grub advantage that you picked up in those first 10 minutes of the game. You need to utilize your cross-map TPs, and you need to really spread the map. And, you know, Miami is still very down in structures, which means there's a lot of gold sitting on the map for them to pick up. But it also means that there are all of these vulnerabilities as Miami looks to do a bit of a death ball play. And NTSP goes down very early, the cleanse not available, and this Kaisa is able to smack that bot lane with her wallet, taking down both of Miami's bot laners, and maybe spreading the game away from where it was looking very, very winnable there.
Oh yeah,
but this is a tough spot.
There was no Gwen, there was no Aatrox. So all the really strong points of Miami's team were not there in order to cover that. Bit of an overextension. I mean, not a bit, a big overextension. Oh, but the Yone is going to get caught.
Yone can't be sitting with the group. That he needs a restraining order. He needs to be at least 300 units away from his team at all times. This is not working for Northeastern.
And Miami, I mean, the Gwen is back. The Gwen is back where she needs to be, and she is running it. Well, not running it down, but she's running the fight. And Miami, as much as I love them picking up these kills and really repelling the offensive, look at their base. It's in shambles. They haven't been able to use this Baron to really able to push these structures like you mentioned. There's just a lot of stagnant gold just sitting on the map for them to take, but they haven't been able to do it the same way that Northeastern has. And I think it's kind of a little scary, because as much as they might be winning these team fights, one thing goes south, one thing where they don't have a TP to match and Yone or someone else is able to get into their base, that could be game. Because at this point in the game, you can take towers, especially with these void grubs, so quickly that you're so vulnerable to like a backdoor. And with two members of Northeastern having TP, as long as they can kind of get in your base and they have a wave to work with, it doesn't need to be a big wave, that could be it.
Yeah. So, I mean, Miami's big window back into this is for Jisung on that Yone to throw again.
He keeps getting caught. I mean, this man has whiffed a lot of ults, hit some ults, but always died. Yeah. And as much as I love Yone. I think he's fun to play top lane. I think the champion is fundamentally just kind of broken. He, like we mentioned, he gets behind. He's hitting you with his little paper mache swords. Yeah. It's like, it's not going to do much. And as much as his ult is great engage, it's just, if you're not in a side lane, you're not offering a lot of value. You're
Here it is. So this is why Yone needs to be playing side lane in this comp, because Northeastern has such a great ability to catch people with 2 or 3 man squads. You know, with Vi and Maokai operating as a unit, they can enable Hue to do giant damage onto any solo carry. They can enable Yone to do giant damage on any solo carry. And while Evil Lobster was able to get away with the Gwen W in that instance, that was still a very scary opportunity there.
And my eyes are on the Kaisa. Honestly, it's going to be up to, if the Kaisa gets picked, Northeastern doesn't really have any other team fight. The Hui is going to do some damage, but oh, Maokai almost getting caught right before an important fight.
Looking for that crucial pick onto that Kaisa that you mentioned. The Gwen ult almost soloing Carry out, but Carry's going to live here with about 5 hit points. That is a giant bummer for Evil Lobster.
Yeah, but, I mean, you get him off. I mean, you can push mid here. Pretty much all the pressure that Northeastern had is gone. But they do have to back to match this Vi in the bot lane. I think Yone is with him. Yeah, so it might just be another inhib for the side of Northeastern. But, yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to respond here as Miami. As much as you want to really fight and you're ahead right now, like I said, you're always vulnerable to these side lanes.
Yeah, and oh my goodness, okay, we're seeing a 2v2 here, and the thing is that I firmly believe this Aatrox is worth roughly 3 players. So, Northeastern is going to almost definitely go down, popping the Sterix gauge there. Now, the Vi did end up picking up the components for a Thornmail, and that's probably going to help a little bit.
Baron is spawning in 6 seconds.
My goodness.
Miami, are you just going to run straight there? Yep, looking like it. And big throw from Northeastern, because as much as you want that bot inhib, you overcommitted, you overstayed, and Aatrox and Gwen just bam.
Yeah, I mean,
Actually looking to this dragon.
Yeah, huge credit to, the Smurf on Northeastern is obviously an incredibly skilled player. But, that build right now that he's rocking is split somewhere between...
all over the place.
Yeah, it's between type, a tank archetype, and a bruiser archetype, and it isn't quite able to fulfill any of those niches as well as you would like, because he's trying to build to sort of deal with his current, game state.
Yeah.
But, Aatrox's build is completely focused on doing giant damage and surviving things you shouldn't survive.
Uh-oh.
Oh, the Yone is going to utilize that split map pressure that this Yone pick was designed to do. So full credit to Jisung for recognizing what he needs to be doing here. We've got a TP here, I believe, out of Paul D. Springer. Yep.
Yeah. Can't exactly take Baron while your base is being destroyed. So fair play. Yone's just going to get destroyed.
Okay, fair enough. And Miami's going to have to back off a little bit, possibly. Off of this Baron while this 4v4 fight happens up here near the Baron.
Is on no HP.
Uh-oh. Yeah, this is a rough opportunity here. Although NTSB is able to shut down Smurf, who does tank it, who does ult in. Evil Lobster using the Zanya's Hourglass to create a little bit more time. But Carry on this many items is going to create a lot of damage. Gets a triple kill here onto Miami, and it's still looking pretty rough. Paul D. Springer able to chase off this bot lane to make sure that they're not able to sneak off with this Baron buff.
Yeah.
But, this Kaisa has GA, got Runins, has got Wit's End, has got Kraken, and the item that makes you pretty tanky.
Yeah.
Are they sneaking back in?
Oh, hold on. They might just try and... I mean, Miami would know that they would be trying this, so I don't think they will try the Baron.
Yeah.
Still a lot of members respawning on the side of Northeastern, but as well, I mean, the respawn timers have gotten quite long, so I do think they're just gonna maybe start this, and I wouldn't blame them. I think it's a good call, kind of forcing Miami to match here, and their Baron is so, I mean, with Kaisa late game, you just take it so quickly, and no one's really able to just respond here. No one's in the know. I think they're just gonna get this. Yeah. And that's pretty scary, because Baron with the state of your base, you don't have much, and if there's not another explosive team fight, I think it's gonna be really hard for Miami to transition this into something positive.
And I mean, the good news is that, Miami's top jungle duo in Paul D. Springer and Evil Lobster have been able to carve out a niche for themselves in this game that was looking like a bloodbath there for the first, 20 minutes. This thing is surprisingly playable.
Yeah, and we did, maybe 2 minutes ago, maybe 3 minutes ago, we did get a glimpse at the gold charts, and Evil Lobster was able to accumulate nearly a 4,000 gold lead, but Hubert might just be caught here.
I mean, there's a lot of sustain here for the Ivern, but he does end up going down. But the 2 divers on the side of Northeastern go down as well. Kaisa GA is popped. They're going to clear out this red ward so that the Kaisa's escape options are a little bit harder. Kaisa tries to outplay NTSP, but it's not quite enough with the Karma Chain and the Gwen Q.
And I mean, well, Hui's alive. So
Yeah.
probably one of the best wave clear champions in the game. So it's not like you're just gonna run it down mid and be able to end. But that is a huge play. That is yeah, 3 members down on the side of Northeastern. And uh really well played there from Evil Lobster, being able to isolate the targets. Quaker, masterful, just being able to kind of uh isolate a lot of these team members in order for Evil Lobster to capitalize.
I mean, so looking at those gold graphs, the gold at the very top bar between the teams is even.
Yes.
There is a 5K gold advantage for the Aatrox. There is a 5K gold advantage for the Gwen.
That's where you want your gold
Yeah, that is
advantages
where
to
you.
be.
Yeah.
And that's to be, like I said, when this Gwen comes online, she is unstoppable. And as long as you have to really misplay in order to kind of mess up as a Gwen at this stage in the game. You have so much healing. You have so much, pretty much everything you would want in order to succeed in a team fight. True damage, tank shred, anything, you name it. Gwen's got it. That's just a lot of new champions that Riot designs have a lot.
What are we
Yone.
doing?
Oh boy.
My goodness, all right. Jisung catching himself out, trying to do something fancy, but Paldi Springer commits a flash and an ultimate to shut down whatever that was. And oh no, Valentina gets caught out as well. NTSB trying to get some damage on the back end, but it looks as if Northeastern may have just opened up a pathway for them to camp out this dragon spawn and potentially go for the Ocean Soul.
Honestly though, I mean, as much as I think Valencia is important in these team fights, I think that Miami's comp is pretty self-sustainable, and Yone is really the only side threat that comes from Northeastern. So if he's not there, Paulie Springer has no problem just staying at these fights, has nothing to TP to at the end. And that is just going to be a 4 across the... We see an attempted smite steal from Smurf, and he's not able to do it.
Northeastern is kind of racing towards the base, but they're a little bit indecisive at this point. And once again, this is what I'm talking about with making as few mistakes as possible. The Gwen W is going to cut off a lot of damage from the
not taking damage.
She die at all. This Vi almost going down in the back end, and this way is going to get chased down by the Ivern, the most aggressive tree you've ever seen. Stinging for the Entwives is going to take down 3 members, although Yone does commit the teleport towards the bot side, is going to try to get some tower damage in. But, Miami is trying to march down mid with this Daisy.
Oh yeah, Daisy's going to tank shots. I mean, and it's a late game Gwen. She's got the sorcery pot. She's going to do extra true damage to structures. This just could be it. Look at the respawn timers on the side of Northeastern. It's not looking good.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like Rush was right. There is trouble with the trees as Ivern mid, this Aatrox top, and Gwen jungle as a unit have figured out a way to dismantle this Northeastern squad and take game 1 of Miami University versus Northeastern.
Oh my God, what an upset. I mean, just look at the gold. This is the comeback of a century. This is the equivalent of a reverse sweep in a best of 5, because if you just look objectively at everything, Miami should have lost ages ago. Like there was nothing going their way, and then they just pulled back from the depths of a huge pit, and they're back.
Yeah, I mean, that was such incredible momentum there out of the core of Miami's top trio, figuring out a way to do so much damage and punishing Northeastern for those positional mistakes. They had such a structural advantage. They were managing their side waves better than Miami was, in my opinion.
Yes.
But they kept overextending. They kept thinking that they could just smack Miami with their wallets. But, in this instance, we had an Aatrox.
Yeah, I think we are going to be going into draft pretty soon.
No, I think that we are good to take a break when we need to take a break. So we may be taking a break here as we wait to get into draft of game 2. We will be right back. Miami up 1-0 on Northeastern. Stay tuned.
welcome back to the battle of Miami University Esports and Northeastern. What a game one! And my brother texted me, and he is not happy. He is very salty. Did not expect a Miami clutch.
Yeah,
But beautiful, beautiful game.
yes, incredibly hard fought game there out of Miami, struggling to get themselves out of a very large deficit, managed to overcome a lot of difficulties there with that trio of the Aatrox top, the Ivern mid, and that Gwen jungle, which was just absolutely beautiful in those team fights. Doing a lot of damage, negating so much damage. Just a phenomenally well played game there from the side of Miami.
Yeah,
Um,
and my eyes are definitely going to be on these bands. I think Gwen is on the chopping block. Aatrox maybe. I definitely think he had a huge part to play in that early game.
Yeah, and it looks as if we are about to head towards that draft. So we will see if we are right about our guesses.
First band Gwen.
Northeastern has decided to go with blue side this time, so they do get the pick priority, and they are first banning the Gwen. Which once again, that very last Hui ult uh, from mid lane into the blue side jungle
Did
was
nothing.
did absolutely no damage because of the Gwen W.
Yeah.
That just feels bad. The Blitzcrank going down as well. I guess trying to get one of the engage or displacement characters out of the hands of Etchen there
Yeah.
in the bot lane.
And I like the Blitzcrank ban because I think unlike Maokai, as much as Maokai is really broken right now. Blitzcrank, when he hits his CC, it's like over for you.
Yeah.
Maokai, there's some counterplay in terms of like his ult and stuff like that. Maybe if have good positioning in team play, it's okay. But Blitz just brings you to them. Like it's like you versus 5 people.
Yeah,
So
I'm okay with this Graves ban as well, trying to take one of the solo carry options away from Smurfed, the challenger level jungler here from the side of Northeastern. The Seraphine ban is going to change some of our bot lane options here for Miami. I know that we have had some success with the dual enchanter bot lanes, with the Seraphine Senna type of gameplay.
yeah.
So cutting off those options entirely and trying to focus Miami into a different game. And the Senna goes down as well. So Miami definitely opting not to go with the Senna game plan.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. Okay, it is gonna be a first pick Varus. I like it. I think Varus is pretty good right now. I thought the Kaisa performed quite well last game in terms of the circumstances. Had a very good early lead, and I love this from the side of Miami. Again, this has been a reoccurring point on this cast so many times. No matter how much you put an Ashe behind, she's just gonna shoot an arrow at you and stun you for like 5 seconds. So like, as long as those arrows are well placed, it's just really hard. And Olaf going to be locked in. I imagine that. Actually, I think that's going jungle, but there's no way to tell.
Yeah. That's a very good flex pick there for Miami.
Yeah.
The Olaf into the Varus is going to make sure that none of the CC from Varus is going to prevent him from running you down and ending your day.
Yes, ruining, just ending your career.
Yeah.
I do love it. And then the Karma is going to be picked up. Varus Karma, traditional lane. Seen a lot of play. I like it. Karma. I hope as much as I like the Malignance last game, and I think it's good. I want to see Shirelius. I just think you can get great application of this item. Gives you a lot of utility. Going fast is always, move speed is the most broken stat in League of Legends. So more of that never hurts.
Yeah.
Okay, and a Kindred going to be hovered from the side of Northeastern. Brand, I think, is a bit more expected. Really, really strong jungler right now. Great clear speed and offers a lot in terms of team fights and damage. And I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. The tree has made another appearance, almost definitely in that mid lane again, although there may be options for it. Ivern plus Olaf is a very enabling combination.
Because he runs at you and then he shields him.
Yeah, and also getting a mini dash off of Ivern's snare is pretty powerful as well. Banning out the Syndra there, making sure that Northeastern does not have that option.
Yeah.
That has been something that they've reliably been playing in CLOL alongside this brand jungle. So, a little bit, a good recognition of some of these danger points. And Valencia's Milio goes down. Although, I don't think that Milio is necessarily a priority pick into Varus Karma.
I mean, if you just look at the Varus in isolation, it's good because, the cleanse of CC is just another thing to help the Olaf. But it kind of has anti-synergy with Olaf. Because of Olaf already ulting, there's no real point to the Milio ult. As much as I do think it helps. And it does pair well with the Ashe. Akali ban from last game, does well. And I'm interested, what is the last ban going to be from Northeastern side? Currently, I am it is going to be the Aatrox. Currently, I am favoring Miami's side just because, again, comfort and as well as, they left a tree, man. That
Yeah,
is a dangerous thing to do.
I almost wonder if we see an engaged support here out of Miami
I love it.
because one of the
Oh,
things. Oh, okay, hovering the Nico. I don't know. I don't
I
think
don't.
that's real, but maybe it's real.
It could be. I don't. It doesn't. It kind of fits into their comp, but okay, that I
Okay,
like a
okay,
lot
okay.
better.
Yeah, fair. The Soraka is going to scale very, very well, and without an engaged support here from the side of Northeastern, Soraka is going to have that time and that space to scale up. Hopefully, we won't be seeing any rough level ones, but I
Yeah, we
think
did see
if
that last game.
yeah, we did apparently see that last game. We did miss the first 4 minutes of the last game because of client issues. Hopefully, we don't have the. Oh my goodness, the
Wait a
karma
minute.
did get flexed.
Karma mid.
There's that Nautilus we were worried about, which makes the Melio ban actually meaningful
Yes.
because Melio there would have been a good disengage option into the Nautilus. But the Soraka, instead of opting for the poke combo that they were really, broadcasting to the world that they were going to
Hold
use.
on.
Oh,
Is
Jace
this a
Karma
Jace?
Varas.
Oh, listen. Is this a Jace being locked in NA? Is this a Jace being locked
Yeah,
in my region?
it
That's
certainly is.
that's illegal. That
Um,
should not be allowed to happen.
okay, so Northeastern, I think, flexing that Karma have created a space here where Miami's bot lane may struggle. I would say pre-6 and possibly even up to around level 8.
But Olaf really strong
Yeah.
in those early levels, and hopefully, if he does path topside, they can get something.
Ooh,
I like the Darius. I love the Darius
I
because
I like the yeah, I like the
I
Darius.
think this Jace. I mean, this pick just gets destroyed by so many things, especially if the person that is piloting it is. I mean, I'm not gonna say anything. Listen, it's NA, man. This there's a running meme that Jace just doesn't see a lot of success in the North American region, and I mean, statistically, they're right. I mean, this champ is notoriously hard to pilot. Using
Oh,
using
one
the
second.
ultimate and form changes effectively is something that's notoriously difficult. And I mean, we'll see because we've seen what this Paul D. Springer can do with the Darius
Yeah.
ahead. That is a champ that is like we were talking about, just snowballs the game. And I don't see. Listen, this Jace is gonna have a hard time. We'll see if. I mean, I could eat my words, and this Jace could
Yeah.
absolutely smurf. But like, it, I like Miami's comp.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I Miami's comp as well. Opportunities for Miami's divers to really get in there off of the Olaf, the Ivern, and the Darius, enabled by the Assault. And, this Soraka really could negate a lot of the poke damage that Northeastern's comp is built to do between that Varus, that Karma, that Jace, and even that brand.
Yeah, totally. I think it's crazy because Soraka just seems like the perfect answer, in
Mhm.
the sense that if you are gonna get chunked inevitably in these before these team fights, Soraka's just there, and if it's late enough in the game, that chunk just goes bye bye. Any kind of damage that you take is just mitigated by Soraka just pressing W1, and yeah, I mean, we can't really make any crazy predictions here, like we said. But I'm gonna say Miami's comp is a bit easier to pilot,
Yeah.
less effort, little bit less effort in order to succeed. But we will see as we go into the next game.
Yeah, and I guess one other comp thing to think about really quickly is that I think Brand's build path is a lot more stable, a lot more unidirectional
Yes.
than Vi. So I think that there is more of a chance here for Smurfed
Mhm.
to really be impactful in this game with some of that brand damage,
I'm hoping to
unless they
see.
get shut down early.
Yeah, I'm hoping as much as I liked the Serpent's Fang last game, even though it
Hmm.
kind of split his build and he kind of lacked identity. I did think he had good application for it, but I'm looking at Grievous this game. We have a Darius.
Hmm.
We have a Ivern. I mean, Ivern's not a ton of healing, but like we have a Soraka. We
And
have an
Olaf.
Olaf.
Yep.
That is a Grievous game if I've ever seen it. So hopefully that is built.
I mean, I hope not, but we will see soon as we head into game 2 of this phenomenal series between Miami and Northeastern. As we go to game 2 of this best of 3, we will be right back in just a bit. All right, and we are back in game 2 of this best of Miami University. It looks as if Northeastern is
Welcome
opting
to
to do a
Summer's
pretty quick
Rift.
5-man group while Miami traditionally fans out alongside this red side jungle.
Yeah, and that oh
Oh, the flash out
30
of Nautilus
seconds
gets the
until minions spawn.
Darius.
yeah, and Nautilus does bring the Hex Flash, I believe. So not too much of a big loss for him. Darius, as I would have liked to see him. I mean, he might have died.
Oh yeah, he
Probably
would've,
dead there.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh, but not having that flash is gonna make it a little bit harder for him to apply pressure. He still has a ghost. Darius, pretty fun, just because you can run at people with that ghost. Doesn't opt for the
Minions
TP,
have spawned.
so not bad. But not great
Yeah.
because in my head, Paul D. Springer gets ahead by maybe doing a flashy play with some with using his flash. Oh, hold on.
Ooh, are we seeing trying to get in that early? Nope. Okay. It's like he's
Nope.
trying to get that vision there on the Raptors, trying to spot out what this clear is going to look like out of this Olaf. And I guess the good news is,
Where's
they
Paul
did
D.
trade
Springer
vision.
going?
Yeah, both junglers know exactly where they're starting. Although, what is
Where
Darius up
is he
to?
going? Oh, is he gonna pressure early?
Yeah, he's trying to invade this brand.
This
who
is a brand level
Yeah.
1. Not really. Okay, he is gonna get the blue to reset. Not bad.
Wild.
Wild. But yeah, we're all pretty excited here just to see how this game goes. Nautilus Hook gonna go wide there. It you know and this lane is a bit lethal because Varus is able to apply those stacks and able to pop them. It's a lot of damage. No matter just kind of no matter what stage. We see an early invade coming from
Ooh.
Evil Lobster. He is level 2.
They're really looking to punish this brand as all of his stuff is on cooldown, but unfortunately,
Gonna miss the
yeah,
Q.
the very first Q misses. If that first Q had hit, that might have been almost lethal off of all of this, but instead they're just going to push the brand out of his own jungle for just a little bit as the Ivern rotates up as well to make sure that there's not any counter engage. But, Jace is picking up a decent CS lead up there in the top lane. Nautilus is still heavily in his power spike era. I would say level 1, level 2 are some of the strongest moments that Nautilus has in a game apart from that 6 power spike. And oh my goodness, Jace is absolutely running it. Knocks Paul D. Springer out into the minions, burns the ghost out of this Darius.
There's the
But full
stacks.
stacks, and
He's
Jace
bled.
is dead. Yep.
And there it is.
Okay.
Didn't even need the flash.
Yep.
Just pops the ghost, like I said, and that's where he gets ahead.
Yeah.
NA Jace, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, I think one of the biggest moments for Darius to actually have flash and for it to be meaningful is after the level 6 power spike.
Yes.
But pre-6, just skirmishing.
Oh, you
Darius,
used the ghost.
yeah, Darius can enable so many kills just with that ghost.
Yeah, so really well played. Paul D. Springer really knowing the damage. And I have to do, I mean, I can't not give it to the Jace. He did hit all his abilities. He did play it well. And a lot of other top laners, maybe he gets the kill there, but this is a Darius. Come on. Like, he's just going to punish those mistakes and punish those oversteps and just stack those stacks. And that is exactly what he did. And pretty much exactly how we thought it was going to play out.
Yeah, I will say this mid lane matchup is definitely not something that you see very often. So credit to Northeastern for experimenting with the Karma. Didn't necessarily think going into today that I would be casting a Ivern versus Karma matchup.
The Ivern is a bit more non-traditional.
Yeah.
Karma mid we do see sometimes, especially a little bit earlier in pro play. It was actually one of Faker's most popular picks for a while. He played it notoriously against Ruler and was caught by Ruler's Varus. So it is something that is not super unfamiliar. And we are going to see the Nautilus moving here, silenced, and the Brand invading the bottom side jungle. And Brand is a little bit less susceptible to bullying now because he does have his level 3, so he can hit a combo, proc his passive. But I still think the Olaf is just going to be so impactful and just running up to him. And and speaking of Olaf,
Yeah. I mean, a little bit early, still missing some of these really crucial cues, but not necessarily. Oh, and the dive mid as the Brand jungle decides to come in, trading off this tower damage. Wait, almost goes down to the heated up turret. Probably lives with about 5 hit points there, but there's absolutely nobody from the side of Miami available to clean up in aisle 4. So, Northeastern is going to come out ahead in that trade, picking up very early Grievous wounds there for this Brand jungle, while Olaf clears out the Void Grubs and actually gives Miami a bit of an objective advantage here in the early game.
I think
Instead of last game.
the side of Northeastern that jungler was watching the stream and he heard me because he first itemed the orb, Oblivion orb, and I love it. I think you're gonna get so much value out of that here, especially into the Olaf if you catch him on an invade. Walking up, threatening the hook there, not actually going to do it. And Paldi Springer is kind of just chilling in his lane, happy with the kill that he has. Gonna pull the Jace in.
Gonna do some stuff. Yep, forces the flash out, gets the flash, and there's that post-level 6 flash that I was talking about. Definitely, yeah, does finish out the kill. Being able to capitalize on those stacks in such a surprising manner with the flash gives Darius a lot of kill pressure. That was a very convoluted sentence. I don't think I phrased it correctly.
It's okay.
But it's fine.
I think people got what you were saying.
Yes.
And listen, as much as I hate to say it, Miami could really just play a boring game here. Because as long as Paldi Springer continues the pressure topside and is able to just continue stacking CS and kills, I think Miami can just play passively in most of their other lanes and just wait. Because objective stacking's not too bad. I mean, I do think the Olaf is going to fall off if the game gets late enough. But he's gonna look mid here. Not a lot of pops the Ghost.
Oh, I think that's a little bit ambitious.
Well, they can turn on the Nautilus.
Yeah, that is true. If they can land a Q here out of the Ivern, forcing the Nautilus flash out, Daisy might still be able to beat him down with the area attached to it. But Smurfed with the Brand jungle coming up.
Quaker.
Yeah, we've got Jace coming up as well. This is an awkward position for Quigert. The Ivern. The Ivern mid goes Timber.
Okay, listen. If that Brand got another kill, I'd be really worried.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that is the thing for Northeastern is, what counters trees? A little bit of fire.
That is true. Wildfires. Yeah, we've unfortunately, been seeing a lot more of those nowadays. So not great.
Yep.
But it's like what counters Lilia? A deer.
Yeah.
Graves because a shotgun. I've seen Bambi.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, this. I will say, I think that our Ivern mid had an easier time of life in game 1 against the Hui than he has against this Karma. I think the Karma W creates a lot of pressure that this Ivern is not able to deal with. Whereas the Hui is so focused on poke and on landing skill shots in the way that he operates that, like, even though Ivern has been Ivern got dove and then got 4-man ganked, he was able to stay even in CS in game 1.
Yeah.
But right now has found himself in a bit of a deficit. Good news being that the support items are so strong right now and they're so cheap that even being down in CS, I think this Ivern could still remain impactful as we go further into this game and try to really empower this Darius.
We saw it last game. I
yeah.
mean, regardless of, I mean, obviously you don't want to give away too many kills. That could be problematic, but, oh, we see another invade by Paldi Springer. No surprise there.
Yep.
It's just going to be running
Ghost
at
for
this
Ghost.
Brand.
He does have the ultimate available, but yeah, Karma pops the ult shield, layering a lot of damage onto Paldi Springer, gets the stun as well, and Paldi Springer gets punished for a little bit of hubris there.
Yeah, just a bit too far roaming in. I like the idea, but you got to respect that the mid lane is going to have prio and is able to just roam and cover, and yeah, it's just going to show up eventually. So you can't really make those mistakes. It is going to be Paldi Springer giving a little bit of his prio that he had in lane away and feeding another kill over to this Brand. Very dangerous. You don't want that Brand to get ahead early.
Yeah, all right. Now we see the Nautilus Q into the Varus R onto the Soraka, but seemingly she's not really taking damage, even as Miami is coming out behind on this trade overall. But Northeastern utilized both of their ultimate. Yeah, they used both of their ults there, and Valencilla Jan still has not hit level 6 yet. Yeah. So a Soraka ult could get popped at any moment here to hopefully swing a team fight. Although it looks as if we're going to trade grubs for Dragon here.
This could just be 6 grubs. Jace might try and...
5 grubs!
That is actually insane.
Yeah.
No, that's really big because 6 grubs is a whole extra little knight that spawns.
Ooh, here comes a dive.
I was thinking about this. I do think they're quite vulnerable here, especially with the Nautilus. Has a lot of lockdown.
Yeah, getting hit by that ult Q out of Karma. The mantra Qs are just so strong right now that even with the Soraka ult and the Soraka heal, it looks as if Northeastern is going to get away with this four-man dive scot-free, even as so many members are so low.
Oh, and it is not looking great here. Brand picking up another kill on that dive. Varus Chovy farming, like really ahead on CS here. Using that prio of the Nautilus and the pressure that it gives in lane in order to just capitalize and get a ton of minions just ahead on this Ashe. While I do think Miami's comp is still going to be impactful going on later, Northeastern has done a wonderful job of kind of slowing Miami's, especially in that top side. Jace has gotten a little bit more passive, realizing maybe he should fight the Darius. And I think that's a great call.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I would be okay with the Jace trying to fight a little. From
We're
a
trying
bias
to
perspective,
remain.
I know. But you know, the way the game is, I definitely think that flexing the Karma towards the mid lane away from the signaled support really was very, very important for Northeastern in the way that this early game has shifted out. Because that Nautilus
TP
Varus
though.
have created so much of a struggle there, and NTSP misses the Ashe Arrow onto Smurf. Not that it was really going to matter that much anyway, as Varus takes the kill onto Valencilla. And that's a 4-kill advantage here for Northeastern so far.
Yep, and I think it's around 3K gold lead, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I'm not going to trust gold leads anymore after that last game. But listen, there's no Gwen, there's no like X factor that.
I mean, I think that this Olaf, with the proper support, could be a pretty big X factor, but it's going to really rely on him getting this ult off in an impactful way, hitting some of those Qs, but unfortunately the damage is just there for this Varus. Olaf gets immediately popped. Nothing that this Ivern or the Soraka can do to keep him in the game.
That's a quadra kill from the Varus.
Yeah, this one's looking rough. Already having that Yomu's already fully built for the side of Varus, as opposed to what the recurve bow, 2 daggers, 1 dagger and 2 short swords for Ashe. This is tough.
Yeah, and we just saw in that fight how much. I mean, obviously the Varus doing the majority of the damage there, but as Miami groups up to try and start the engage, Brand just can just stack. I mean, he just stacks his abilities on someone and then has his passive detonation just keep proccing. And it just does massive amounts of damage, has great Grievous application, and it kind of neutralizes Evil Lobster's strat of just running in and trying to out-heal them.
Yeah. And I will say one sort of unlucky thing regarding Keystone choices is that, Jisung with the phase rush on this Jace has some more escape opportunities than he might otherwise have into this Conqueror Darius. Like, the damage is very good, the self-sustain is good for the Darius, but, like, he just can't get onto this slippery Jace.
Uh-oh! Runaway Ivern!
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, Ivern trying to make an escape, maybe trying to execute to something here in the top side. He's going to find a
walk it out.
cheeky angle. That's funny. I like that. He's going to try to escape recall here in the bush as the Nautilus goes on a quest to find him here in this bush. He does find him. I don't think Quigard's getting out of this one.
No!
And a kill goes over to this Brand jungle. I think we're probably looking at a game 3 here unless something really miraculous happens.
Yeah. Let's say Varus with 5 kills, the Brand with 4 kills, the top laner 2 kills. And listen, I said I would eat my word. I mean, there was a possibility that I would eat my word. And I think with the Jace, he
Ooh, okay, well, yeah, Olaf trying to do Olaf things, but not able to close that space in the time that he's got that ult up, and now he's going to get caught back out by this support, by this Brand. This is just a dead Viking.
Yes. And, as I was saying, I think the Jace, you were right, the phase rush kind of saved him, because he did kind of start taking a bit more less aggressive trades, but he also was able to have that speed buff to just kind of get him out of those sticky. Asterius wants to be on top of you. He wants to just be in E range so he can start his combo with his Q and his W and really keep you locked up. But if you move super quickly, it's really difficult if you proc that phase rush to be able to lock you down and apply all those stacks in order to get you an ult range. So.
Yeah. Plus,
kind of a natural uh, way of avoiding being 100 to 0.
yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, Jace may also be carrying a Yomu's as well, which is an additional giant speed boost that he can use both in and out of combat to try to escape some of these sticky situations and escape the soft engage from Olaf and Darius. This is Miami's in a tough spot.
Hold on.
That's all I can really.
Shuffle in the bot lane.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Jace is going to make it out unscathed, relatively. I mean, he does lose some health there, but not really going to give a kill over to Miami. And like you said, it does kind of look like a game 3. I think Miami is really lacking any kind of angle to, unless we have kind of the same miracle team fighter. Northeastern
Ooh.
decides to take a really bad engage. It's looking kind of.
Yeah, I mean, this chunky poke out of a very ahead Northeastern side is going to make it very difficult for Miami to play in any fight. Even Paul D. Springer, the player who was very ahead at the very start of this game, is not able to hold up under the pressure of these Karma Qs, under the Jace long-range Qs, under the Varsity. Like, they've got the blues in them. You know?
Yeah, it's tough. And I think I'm hoping at least.
Big team fight coming through. Olaf using the ultimate just to escape means that he's not going to be able to use that CC immune pressure to do damage to Northeastern. It just means that Miami walks out worse for wear.
Yeah.
That's about it.
All I can ask, just make it quick. Like, let's get to game 3. I feel like if it's drawn out, it just makes it worse for everyone involved. So
I mean, there are you know, when you're this far behind in a game of League of Legends or this far behind in just about any esport, the thing that you really should be doing in this situation is experimenting, figuring out some tendencies that you can look to exploit in the next game, and sort of figure out some of the micro things on your own end that you can do a little bit better. But, you know, it's hard to show a lot of skill expression in this phase of the game because so many of Northeastern's buttons, like when they just press them, will erase Miami's health bars.
yeah, they just kind of disappear. And in League is kind of unique in the sense that as an esport, it's not like an FPS. It's not like Valorant or another title where CS:GO, where mistakes can kind of just be like forgotten about the next round. No, there is consequences in the sense that they're just stronger now, and it's going to make it really difficult for Miami to get any kind of clawing back like we saw in the last game. Because while Miami was able to pull off like cleaner team fights and capitalize on a lot of the mistakes that Northeastern made, they had a Gwen, they had an Aatrox, they had avenues that they could use to get back into this game and just outscale the team comp that Northeastern had. And I don't see any avenues. I see an Olaf and I see a Darius. I see 2 champions that just kind of fall off the face of the cliff. So the whole goal was to kind of utilize these picks to kind of get ahead early game over the Darius, over the Brand, but we saw remnants of that at the beginning, but they weren't really able to carry it over. And sometimes that's just how it happens.
And I mean, full credit to Northeastern on this game. They were able to utilize early tower dives in order to really set this Ivern behind, to really set the bot lane for Miami behind. They just really didn't have much of an opportunity to get back into this game. And I also credit to Northeastern for not positioning in such a way that this was able to punish them and roll over them in the game, because now it's a little bit too late. I mean, yeah, we are rage split pushing top a little bit, getting a good amount of gold out of it, but the damage just isn't there. Yeah, maybe. What if, though?
No, not an Olaf moment. Yeah, I do think the cross map not bad for Miami, but it's still not great. They lost 2 inhibs. It's going to make it really hard to have any kind of pressure on the map to contest objectives, because if those super minions get in your base, it's GG. And yeah, so it's going to give Northeastern a lot of control, kind of dominion, to do whatever they want. So unfortunate, but like I said, sometimes that's just how the game goes. And like you said, looking forward to see what you can improve on and what you can possibly do better, especially in draft. Maybe neutralize some of these picks. I personally wouldn't mind a Brand ban. I think that was a big reason why they were successful this game. But again, the karma kind of throwing people for a loop as well,
Yeah,
including us.
yeah. I mean, I definitely think the Olaf into the brand was okay.
No, it was good. Yeah,
I think that Karma being so far ahead in mid meant that a lot of the early aggression onto the brand in his own jungle
didn't really work.
from Evil Lobster and from
Yeah.
Paldy Springer got very easily punished.
Yeah, she was always there to cover, always faster on the rotation, just because she constantly had cryo.
Oh,
Even the arrow is going to be blocked here.
yeah.
Yeah, because well, I mean, when you constantly have a you use that mantra Q to constantly push out the lane, it's just means that you have so much more power and ability to rotate when the Olaf eventually comes knocking.
Mhm.
So yeah, not great.
Yeah.
Just kind of uh, things not working as planned.
And I will say, once again, talking about the seasonal changes into this new jungle, I would say mid lane has become a lot easier to tower dive from range if you've got the proper tools to juggle tower aggro. And bot lane has as well the red side tri brush has been rearranged, and Northeastern was able to exploit that very very well. I would almost wonder if Miami's going to look to get back onto the blue side for game three here.
I would imagine. I think blue side is, despite Riot's best efforts, still definitely more dominant. Um, that shows in win rates. That shows in how teams draft and what they prioritize. So yeah, and I heard today it put pretty eloquently in the sense that blue side is definitely more about getting those OP picks and trying to leave them open in the ban phase, and red side's more just about counters. But it is gonna be like not. It's probably gonna be the end
Yeah,
of this game.
I mean, that was a pretty quick one. I mean, we were able to get the Kraken Slayer online for the Ashe, but it's just not going to be enough damage overall to deal with the front to back that Northeastern was able to put together at this point in the game. And once again, I have to fully credit Northeastern here for adapting to Miami's fairly odd game plan there from game one.
Yes.
We played a really weird front to back comp that worked very, very well for us. And in response, Northeastern was able to draft their own front to back comp that was able to play very, very well into our very early game aggressive game plan.
Yeah, and I am expecting a text from my brother very soon, rubbing it in that we're going to a game three. And you know what? Well played from Northeastern. Really good response. I was hesitant about the Jace, but the phase rush really helped him
Oh yeah,
and was able to play the lane really well. And especially shout out to the mid laner. Yeah, he had an eye on his map,
oh yeah,
and it was just well played all around.
yeah. So we will be right back as soon as the draft starts up for game three. Don't go anywhere. We are currently tied up in this best of three series, 1-1. Here's hoping for a bit of a recovery from Miami if you are a Miami fan, like
Yeah,
myself.
maybe we got
Um,
some of Miami.
yeah, yeah. Rise up, etc. And we will see you soon. Hello and welcome back. We are about to head into draft of Game 3. Just a small glimpse of us here behind the casting desk as the Blitzcrank band goes through for us and Gwen goes through for them. Looking pretty standard, and this Graves band as well, trying to diminish some of the solo carry potential of this challenger jungler from the side of Northeastern. But I really would have loved to have seen a brand band.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, maybe now.
Maybe.
Maybe.
The Xin Zhao also getting banned out. One tool that Evil Lobster has been able to utilize pretty well. I'm a little bit bummed that we are not currently in a Trundle meta.
Oh, well, we are, but just it's topside.
Yeah.
So not ideal. I love to see a little bit of trolling,
Yes,
but
yes.
not today for I mean, most likely.
But I would say that Trundle is one of Evil Lobster's signature picks. One of his very, very comfortable game plans. But I would say in this meta, it might be a little bit difficult to make that work in this setting. The Karma first pick is something that I definitely like to see.
Yes.
I am okay with this being a flex. I am assuming we're going to see it in the bot lane in the hands of Valencilla.
We thought that last time, though.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
So, all right, Miami, it's time to lock in. Let's see what you got. I'm imagining. Okay, we are going to see the Kaisa again. Oh, maybe Zaya. Oh, we're going all over the place.
Yeah, there are so many different game plans here that could be followed through. The Jhin is interesting. More of a backline fighter.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Okay, Nunu based. Shout out to my man Hornbach if he's still in the chat. Love that guy. Yeah, Talia definitely one that we are seeing a lot more play with right now. The ability to just cross map really effectively and use the ult to just travel, but you know, again, Brand just offers so much in terms of team fighting, damage, and like you said, the build path. Really pretty strong
simple
right now.
Yeah, pretty simple, pretty strong. That's what you want in a champion these days. So the Jhin brand is going to be very brawly, going to have a lot of damage at mid to long range, and Miami's looking to counter that with the Ezreal Karma, potentially very safe backline duo.
Like that.
The damage path out of Ezreal can be a little bit iffy because it's very, very skill reliant. You need to hit those mystic shots in order to make your game plan work.
Yes.
But the good news is that NTSP, for the most part, has been able to make that happen all night, and we are seeing the very early Aatrox pick. The blind pick,
it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I trust in Paul D. Springer. You should also trust in Paul D. Springer.
We
trust in Paul D. Springer.
We saw what happened when we didn't trust in Paul D. Springer because we were like, oh, what's this dude going to do? And then he carried the entire game. So, we are going to see maybe a run back of that Jace. Don't mind it, especially if he takes phase rush. I think he can maybe run away. Aatrox has a bit more mobility to try and catch up to him with that E. But, I'm not going to clown on it again. This guy made it look pretty good. So,
yeah. I would definitely assume that we're going to see a TP flash out of this Aatrox top. So there's not going to be necessarily as much immediate kill pressure as that Darius had in that matchup earlier. But I would still say that Aatrox's ability to be a juggernaut later game is going to be pretty strong. And the tree gets axed. There will be no Ivern in this game 3, as it's been a staple pick for Quigert in these last 2 matches. Looking a little bit rougher in game 2, but definitely contributing strongly to Miami's success in game 1.
Yes. I'm trying to decide if I kind of wanted to see him play something different. I'm not going to lie. Listen, if he's able to kind of match, he was able to kind of match laning with a Hui as a tree in game 1. What is he gonna do when he actually has something that can do? That's my question. And as far as I'm looking, and if they're not gonna pick it away, the Orianna dodged fan face.
Yeah, I think that an Orianna would be probably pretty good here. I think like a J4 Orianna.
I'd love that.
B4, B5 out of Miami here could be very impactful. giving more dive opportunities to Aatrox and the J4,
Get
leaving
lockdown,
yeah,
engage,
yeah.
everything you
Oh,
need.
Pike is feels greedy to me.
No, I like it
Okay.
because it pairs very well with the Jin, and what the Jin wants to do. It's actually one of the best supports in my eyes for the Jin matchup. But it is gonna deny you a bit more of that tankiness. And if I'm hoping for the sake of Northeastern that hold on, we talked about this.
We did discuss this earlier. I'm a little bit worried. Okay.
Okay, thank God.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm a little bit
Okay,
worried because our ability to close gaps would have been a bit tough there.
or Rihanna,
Yeah, without the
or
J4
Rihanna.
off of that. But the Aatrox, the J4, that is a couple of fairly reliable go-in buttons, and that's what you want to see at least into the brand and the Jin.
I'm manifesting it. It's gonna
Um,
happen.
and I think that the Pike is going to disrupt the game plan a little bit by being able to escape some of these situations. But also, Pike suffers from Yone syndrome,
Mm.
where if he tries to, uh, engage too aggressively in the mid to late game, he will just get popped right away
Yeah.
and contribute absolutely nothing to a team fight.
He is a walking word bot at a
Yeah.
certain point in the game, and even if he does well early game, he's just like I'm M7 Pike. I've played him a lot. He feels really bad to play late game. Like as much as you think the execute would be really helpful, you have to play so passively and so safe. And there, okay,
Or
wait. Is that a Jace mid?
I think it's a Jace mid or top. Yep. Uh,
Okay, but I like that for Miami because Aatrox is really good at the tanks.
yeah.
Um, and
So wait, or
wait,
maybe
hold
or
on.
mid Jace top. We're gonna have to see how the rest of this prepare your loadout phase plays out because that is an interesting.
I think
Yeah.
it is an Ord mid.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with tank mids.
No, there's
Uh,
not. I mean, it's just gonna mean that again, like a lot of the reason that the brand was able to do so well was the mid covering. You see an orange meatball running at you,
yeah,
it's not super intimidating.
yeah. I mean, the ultimate ability later in the game is going to create a lot of chaos, possibly enable this Pike to do some serious damage. And I don't think that this, you know, Jace had a rough game in game one,
At
but
the
obviously,
beginning,
yeah. But he also, yeah. We'll see how all of this goes. Uh, but I definitely think that Miami's comp here is a little bit easier to execute on, but there are enough weird wiggle room edge case things for Northeastern here where if they are able to get an early lead, able to create some of these early tower dives like they did in game two,
mhm,
Miami could find themselves on the back foot fairly early.
yes,
But I think that if Miami is able to keep the game relatively even through the mid game, I think that this comp should uh, see them through and
yes,
possibly get them to
and
the win on the series.
my only worry with that is that Orin is like again, we talked about X factors. Orin is strange because he takes a comp that may not scale well outside of like the brand and makes it so you're way more relevant late game with his item upgrades. Providing almost I'd say at least 15,000 gold worth of stats.
Hmm.
So is gonna take a bit to get to that point in the game, but is gonna make them a bit more relevant towards the late game. So hopefully we don't get there, but we'll see.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
guess like two other things to consider is that ganking Ornn mid is going to be tough.
Yes.
His W makes him unstoppable, so the flag and drag stuff isn't going to work nearly as effectively, and his Ornn dash can
Is
actually break
EES.
through Jarvan's cage.
Yes.
So that could create an escape route if a bunch of Northeastern players get looped in here, and we're going to have to see what sort of build um, that Evil Lobster goes with on this J4. I think in competitive play, you really do need to be playing the bruisery, tanky sort of archetype on this character.
Yes.
Even if in my ARM games when you build them full
I
lethality,
love
yeah,
lethality.
yeah, lethality
Pop
jar.
the yeah.
And with how strong lethality items are, I don't think it's completely
Out of the question.
right out of
Yeah.
the question. But it's such a tough ask because J4's job here isn't to like one shot
Yeah.
four people. His job is to enable Oriana.
Be a ball delivery
Yeah,
system.
he's a ball delivery system, and to get Aatrox into a fight where Aatrox can continue doing Aatrox things.
Mhm.
Ezreal Karma hopefully will be a stable enough bot lane to see that side of the map through, potentially get a little bit of early dragon
Maybe
pressure.
not get dived.
Yeah, not getting dove would be huge.
Yes.
And the game is really going to come down to Paul D. Springer on the Aatrox top.
Yeah, that and also I'm thinking, look at these comps. We're seeing these both of these comps. We got an Ornn, we got a Pike, we got a Orianna, we got a what is that guy called? A Jarvan. And these are 5v5 comps. We are going to see some explosive fights. So yeah, we are going to be jumping into game relatively soon.
But I think we're going to take a break really quick while we make sure that we've got all of that stuff set up.
Yeah.
And we will potentially maybe be going right into Rift.
Yeah,
I
very
am here.
short. Yeah.
So
We might just be able to stick around because yeah, we're almost done loading in.
okay, we are loading into the Rift right now. That is good to hear. And once again, we are seeing the phase rush there out of that Jarvan top again,
Like it?
giving him a little bit more escapability. We are seeing the Summoner's Spellbook here out of Ornn, giving him a lot of potential, weird and wacky options
I
later
love
into the
that.
game.
I love it. I love when they do that because there's so many fun things that you can do with the spell book. Whether it be TP in a weird way, you could steal a Baron with Smite, you
30
can do all
seconds
these
until
fun
minions
things.
spawn.
And it really gives the champion a lot of skill expression, just in the way that you can utilize all these different summoner spells. So I love it. I think Ornn doesn't lose too much if he doesn't go grasp. So I think it's good.
Yeah, and I mean, in this lane versus Orianna, I don't think that there's necessarily a world where he's going to ever proc grasp without
Yes,
it
you're so
being
right.
like a killing blow.
Yes,
Um,
you are correct there. It is not
Minions have
realistic to
spawned.
be able to walk up an auto. And looking around, I'm looking at the skins right now. I like Ornn doesn't have a lot of skins. Oh, hold
oh,
on,
saw the the mantra Q.
made up words.
Yeah, chunks this Ornn a little bit.
He's an
Maybe
Ornn,
makes
he'll be fine.
yeah, it's like maybe
Got the
makes
Dorange.
Ori's life a little bit easier in the early game, but I don't think anything major is going to be happening unless there's some serious misplays out of Quigert there in the mid lane. And we're actually going to be seeing a leash
That's
for
something
the
you see
jungle
a lot.
here.
Yeah, but I
that's-
think it's if you are gonna do it, it's not bad on Ezreal just because he's just such a safe laner who doesn't require a lot of prio and everything like that. As much as it is not bad to have that.
yeah.
But looking into the Jhin, not super scary yet. I think when he starts to get his W and Pyke is able to land these Qs and they can combo off each other, that's when you kind of have to worry. Because I think a lot of the damage here is actually...
Oh, we're seeing an
Hold on.
early invade by the J4, gets the flash out of the brand, successfully bullying it. And I guess this is one thing to really consider about this Ornn mid pick, is that he is not in any world ever going to have the kind of priority that the Karma mid had in that last game. He's not going to be able to rotate and punish Evil Lobster in quite the same manner. Quigert has tempo in mid, and that's going to let Evil Lobster run all over this brand for at least a little bit.
I'm telling you, this dude is a walking meatball. He's going nowhere. And Evil Lobster knew that. And he's like, listen, I'm just going to go where I please. And I love that. I like the confidence, getting the early flash, not opting to chase. I think that's
sensible.
That's wise, especially if you're chasing into an enemy lane where you're going to be under kind of a tower. And we are kind of seeing, despite the chunk onto this Pyke, a lot of pings coming out.
It looks as if there's a full collapse from Northeastern here on this top side. Quigert actually getting auto attacked. Has to burn the flash early to try to avoid some of this damage out of Jiyoung. But, oh my goodness, he is going to go down as J4 tries to solo, finally uses that flash to take down Smurf there in the river. But
so many flashes committed.
Every Eastern there to take down Quigert. I think overall it might be a slight resource win for the side of Miami.
3 flashes on the side Northeastern. Well, I mean, Brand uses physical, but I guess, so I'd say 2 maybe, and 2 flashes on the side of Eastern, so kind of an even trade. But they do get an extra 100 gold from the first blood.
They do, and it creates this tempo for Evil Lobster to just live in this brand jungle, not quite allow him to hit level 3 yet.
Oh, jeez.
And is going to smite away these Krugs. He might still be able to hit level 3 off of some of these little... Nope, not quite. So, Paul D. Springer and Evil Lobster here on this topside jungle can create a lot of issues. This short TP to the backside tower
Look
is
at
looking
these pings.
Yeah. What is going on here? Apart from Northeastern trying to collapse a little bit onto these...
Hold on.
Yeah, these bugs when they spawn. But we've got a fight here in the top side. Evil Lobster shorts his EQ combo, his flag and drag a little bit. but Miami might just have enough damage off the top of it to finish off this Jace. The slow goes down on the Jarvan W,
They get out though.
but yep, the Pike gets first rotation up and supports roaming up towards the top side at the 430 mark, at the 445 mark. That's going to determine whether or not you get the Vibes or not. And Miami is very fortunate there to get as much out of that confrontation as they did, while, it looks as if this Ezreal Karma are actually going to meaningfully pressure this Jhin.
Yeah, because there's no support here, and they are aware that he's roam topside, and they can just take that opportunity. They were already pushing. I mean, this is a total push lane. And another thing is, we've been consistently seeing Carry able to develop these CS leads pretty independently. I mean, he has had a lot of engage supports to be able to kind of pressure NTSP and Valencia off the waves, but, with the Jhin and the Pike roaming, he hasn't had the same ability to kind of just CS as he pleases. So, really well done, uh, recognizing that on the side of Miami, and I mean, able to get that pick relatively unscathed. The flag and drag comes down, and Evil Lobster's out of there.
Yeah, I mean, this Pike is recalling in our side jungle, a bit odd.
Evil Lobster able to spot it out. Not much is probably going to happen. It is a Pike. Good disengage. The Karma is roaming up, but he's just going to go over the wall. So not super impactful. Hugert, pretty even CS here in the mid lane, but able to hold his own relatively well, stacking that tier.
Oh, and okay, here's some of that Ornn damage that
Riveting.
Yeah, that so many. Ornn is capable of being a bit of an assassin. Orianna is a pretty squishy character, but only really able to trade out for half the health. Haldy Springer extremely low, pops the ult to try to get some of the self-healing to live through this engagement. Gets the second Q, looking for the final.
That was disgusting.
Hit. Yeah, and he just wins.
That was gross.
Just Aatrox things,
Bro.
All right, Brand comes through to try to finish him off. But I think if Haldy Springer can get away from this turret, out of this turret aggro, there might be a way for him to successfully
walks away.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, hold on. The Ornn's here, though.
The Ornn Ghost is going to pop the Ornn ult as well.
The Ornn kill. Ornn Mage Assassin hybrid does it all.
I think if I'm Northeastern's jungler there, I'm a little bit upset. Because that kill could have been teed up for the Brand.
Mine.
But also, at the end of the day, Ornn giving Ornn some resources is not the worst thing.
Again, a million pings coming in.
Yeah, a million pings as this
huge shockwave.
Big shockwave come through onto the Ornn and the Brand, but unfortunately, Evil Lobster and Quigard are not able to do enough damage off the back end of that as well. And Pike once again gets first roam up as Valenzuela is running very late in the mid lane. Quigard goes down into this four-man skirmish, and all Valenzuela can offer on the back end of it is a Mantra Q that really just doesn't hit anybody. Yeah.
But, so not great for Miami. Taking that fight a little bit rough because most of them weren't really in position. Little greedy, but I understand why. Brand is a little bit, it's not super intimidating at this point in the game.
Yeah.
Is not able to pick up any kills in that fight, which I think is pretty substantial because as we saw, part of the reason they were able to get that lead in the last game is because Brand was able to pick up these kills in a lot of these fights and use that to accelerate his build and do work in these team fights. But, well, it depends on who you're rooting for. Northeastern not able to focus their gold on a lot of the places where it might be most impactful. Well, I mean, it's a Jace. It's not terrible.
Yeah.
But,
and I mean, it looks as if this Jace is going to be able to complete his first item pretty well before Aatrox, even with that tier sort of diverting some of his build path away from, he's got a lot of components.
And,
but, we've got some aggressive play out of this Brand, looking to get some forward positioning into Miami's topside jungle, getting some vision down. But Evil Lobster has already cleared all of those camps, and he's got a substantial CS lead.
Yeah. Evil Lobster, again, just on a comfort pick, able to make the most out of it. We saw those early invades really doing wonders. Oh, hold on. That might be a pause. We'll see.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, it looks as if we're going to go to a pause. We may want to cut to us here in a second.
Yes.
But, yeah, that is a bummer here. Hopefully we can see the rest of this game played out because I think that, this game has been really, really interesting.
It's not,
it's
even.
Remake. It's very, very even.
Yeah.
I would say the next thing that I was looking at in that game state.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have been told that a PC issue was responsible, but he should be back relatively soon.
Yeah. So one of the things that I was really looking at there was the fact that Pike was able to finish off those mobility boots very, very early. And I think being able to do that around the 7 minute mark, around the 8 minute mark, gives him so much tempo for those early mid game team fights
Yeah,
that Karma just can't quite catch up with.
yeah, because I mean, we were talking about this. It's like I mean, again, as a Pike player, I know how important Mobies are. It's a core part of his kit. He's a roaming champion, but it's like, okay, the Ornn's not going to do it. I'll do it myself. He comes all the way up from bot lane
Yeah.
to try and cover those dicey moments where Jarvan is running on top of the brand, and it worked. It
Yeah.
worked. I mean, his presence there was able to cause enough chaos for them to win out on that fight, and it's not the end of the world as pretty consistent CS leads on the side of Miami, especially in that jungle. And we did see that really gross solo kill onto the Jace in the
Yeah.
top
Yeah.
lane. He literally, I mean, he plus Fresh R and like it was so weird, but
Yeah.
boom, Aatrox.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes the passive auto attack from Aatrox can just do wild
He
amounts of
got all
damage
his
for,
health back
yeah,
too.
for no reason.
Yeah.
But I will say, full credit to Carry on the side of Northeastern here,
Hmm.
surviving a lot of this early game aggression
Without a support.
without a support against this Ezreal Karma. And that is one of the very difficult things about playing the Ezreal Karma bot lane is that although you have so many opportunities to poke and do large amounts of damage, it's very difficult to actually confirm a lot of kills
Yeah.
unless you bring the jungle down to support you on it.
There's no real
Uh,
lockdown.
yeah,
Yeah.
because apart from Karma W, and you can walk away from her tether fairly reliably.
Yeah. Especially as a Jin with Fleet,
Yeah,
you have speed.
yeah. If you've got fleet footwork, if you're building towards those boots of swiftness like you should be as a Jin player, there's so many opportunities for you to walk around and zoom past all of the skill shots, out of the mystic shots, out of the mantra Qs. And it appears as if we are about to head back into the game as the connection issues out of carry have been resolved. And I
Yes.
mean,
Oh, hold on. We
possibly
gotta
sometimes with resuming a paused game, spectator client can be a little bit
dicey.
persnickety.
Yes.
But I believe that we should be good to get back in soon-ish.
We'll
We'll let
see.
you know as we do it. But I guess as we went back to it, we did see that Ezreal had about a 20 CS lead, which is a decent amount of gold.
Yeah,
Um,
it is good to have a lead on the Ezreal. Obviously, you want to get that tier and Manamune, everything completed as quick as possible because you want a lot of CDR. Just spamming your ult is always good. That's big reason why we saw NTSP actually be really helpful in the team fights in game one. Is despite not being like super threatening, obviously the Gwen more the top side being the focus. Um, he was able to get off some really big multi-man ults in a lot of these fights, chunking down a lot of the members of Northeastern before the fights had even started.
oh, and as I was talking about bringing the jungler down to this bot side, we are seeing, yep, everybody. So Pike runs for his life.
Wait, did he just
As,
flash?
yeah,
Jin just
Jin
flash
just
ghosted.
flash ghosted
Where's he
away
going?
from Jarvan. He's going for a little walk.
He's out.
Yeah, he may be out.
I think they're like, okay, we got both of his sums,
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
bad. Okay, hold on.
Baldy Springer things as the Ornal comes through and
Goes
whips.
wide.
Excellent spatial awareness there from Baldy Springer, but unfortunately Smurf is also here. And Smurf actually does get an assist for that, which is a bit of a bummer because he is stacking up that Dark Seal in his inventory. That is going to be another something like 2 extra AP.
Yeah,
that
he's
is-
like, if I'm just getting takedowns, may as well make some use out of it,
Yeah. And
he's been KS'd every single time. I
And-
guess less than that instance. But.
Oh no, this is exactly what you don't want to see when you're playing into a Pike player.
Big shockwave, though.
Yeah, true.
Phenomenal disengage from Qgert,
Yeah.
or Quagert, or some way of pronouncing his name. I'll have to get confirmation from that after the game. But really well played in order to stop that play in its tracks. And they are just taking this bottom tower, and just taking the plates. And, yeah, that's the consequence of sending your support every which lane that isn't bot lane. You're going to lose a lot in terms of gold on these platings. And as much as I like the Pike, I don't think it has the same consistency as like a pick like Nautilus or Maokai.
Yeah.
Phenomenal ult there, getting some damage down. Not really probably going to amount to much, but it looked cool. And we're talking about gold, more platings in the top side being taken. And it just looks like Miami is playing their lanes pretty effectively. You know, while the skirmishes haven't necessarily gone their way all the time, like we saw there in the top side, and the Jin getting out in the bot side, they are very comfortable in these lanes and the laning phase. So bodes well for them.
One of my big worries is that Miami may not have all of the tools that they need to actually bring this Ornn down
I think you're
as we
right.
progress further into this game. I would say the Black Cleaver start out of the J4 is promising, but Ezreal is not necessarily known for his tank busting abilities in the same way that a Jinx
Thunder
or an
is
Ashe
gone.
would be. Yeah, oh my goodness. Okay, Quiggert is getting dove on again by this Pyke, who patiently holds his Q, but actually whiffs it this time. The Oriole coming through to punish, and unfortunately,
follow-up.
yeah, no damage able to be layered onto that.
Fine. Oh, hold on.
Oh, Jan gets tossed onto the wrong side of that small wall and is forced to burn flash away from it. May have been able to hold on to that in that situation because I think Pyke was just as surprised that he hit that that hole as Valencillo was.
Jay's gonna be pulled into the Jarvan cage. Not much.
Yeah, it was a pretty
come out of it.
early.
Oh, hold on.
I'm not sure I want to dignify this one. This is
What am I watching?
Yeah, this is an odd
Oh
situation.
no.
I think that J4 might die to this heated up tower, but he barely lives. Sure.
My eyes.
Yeah.
The top lane. What am I watching?
Stuff. League of Legends, I guess.
Oh boy.
As Northeastern is looking to push.
Another great ult.
Yeah, push a little bit further here into this bot lane. Yeah, great ult out of Ezreal, clearing out a lot of these minions, making sure that this dive out of the Brand, who is lurking here in J4's jungle, making sure that he's not able to make that dive happen.
And I agree with you. Oh, hold on.
Oh.
We are gonna see the ignite.
Yeah.
Oh,
And the ult
hold
out of
on.
Ornn. The assassin is being engaged as Brand uses his ult. The shield gets popped out here out of Quigert's Seraphim's Embrace.
Hold on. Evil Lobster looking.
Yep. All right. Will Evil Lobster be able to find anything? He does not currently have ult. And there's a Pyke here that this
They don't know.
this Brand is baiting for. But could this put Brand in further danger? No.
Pyke's
No.
looking. Does he have ult? Is that 6?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Pyke has used ult this game.
Oh yeah, that's a little rough. But no, as you were saying earlier, one thing is being able to deal with the tank, but another thing is just being able to end the game. Because you need to, if this game goes on long, like I said, I'm worried. Because similar to how the Gwen was able to just scale and just do more in team fights than the side of Northeastern, this Brand is going to be an issue. And while I don't think that Jin Pyke is particularly effective in the late game,
Baldy Springer sees an angle here with his Profane Hydra. Almost chunks out the Jace.
not
but
able to flash ult your way into that.
If Baldy Springer had been sitting on half an item more, he actually might have been able to turn that in that specific situation. But he was on too low of health.
Yeah, not going to have the TP to be able to get back into lane. A little bit unfortunate there. But as I was saying, yeah, it's scary because Brand is going to be quite effective. And then Ornn is just going to be there. And as long as they can peel enough for this Brand, I think they have the tools they need in order to come out on top of a lot of these team fights. But, you know, it is scary, though, because you're putting a lot of your eggs in one basket on the side of Northeastern, because if the Brand does fall, that's a lot of your damage gone. I mean, obviously, the Jace can be effective a lot with these lethality builds, and he's going to do damage in these late game team fights, but still, your bot lane isn't as consistent in these 5v5s.
Yeah, and I will say, like, one of the very frustrating things gotta be the fact that Jin has been able to really narrow this gap down despite 1v2ing for most of this early game.
Very safe laner.
While being 2 levels ahead of his lane opponent, because this Pyke has not been present at all.
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing that they've traded away for that is that I think Karma is level 8, Pyke is level 7, but once you hit level 7 on Pyke, it doesn't really matter that much what the difference is between 7 and 8.
And I do love what I'm seeing from Miami. The more that you prioritize these objectives, the easier the late game is going to be for you. Oh, we do see the flash from the Pyke, not going to connect the stun, but and we do see the effective ult, sharing the gold with his teammates. I didn't see exactly who picked up the last hit there. But it is going to be a little, it's not great because they do get a tier 2 off of that play, while Miami does pick up Dragon. what soul is it? I didn't exactly. I think it will be a mountain soul. Or no,
Oh,
is that infernal? I think it is infernal.
I believe we are headed to another pause. There may be more issues, which is a giant bummer. I
Yes.
would like to see this game actually go through as it's
Me
supposed to.
too.
Um, but bear with us. We'll get there. Things are taking it. Okay.
Okay, so we apparently top side is having some issues with computers. Those can be finicky.
Yep.
But yes, I like what I'm seeing so far. I mean, obviously, both sides, both teams are being able to find places where they're trying to get ahead. Obviously, it's good to have tier two be down and top side. Makes it more vulnerable for the split. Jace, not a super huge split pusher. Has those grubs, but not enough to really make a huge difference. I like the dragon stacking. I think that's going to be impactful. And Infernal Soul sounds great with
Yeah.
Ezreal, especially, and Oriana. I mean, everyone kind of benefits from an Infernal Soul.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of what they did to the map with the Infernal Soul, like giving everyone Bard pass or like
Yeah. Bard
putting
chimes.
chimes everywhere that give basically nothing in terms of ability haste. It's very
Yeah.
not noticeable. It's weird and it's new, but it's
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's like a super welcome addition. I mean, it's better than having just random terrain disappear.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It doesn't matter. Makes people have fun like fireworks when they die, and
Yeah.
they had a
The
lot of
the chimes
those.
in them. Yeah.
Yeah, the little embers.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I will say, we didn't get to see much out of game two because of how much of a steamroll game two ended up being.
Yeah.
But although I think that Miami is actually displaying better mechanics out of their side lane players, I
Hmm.
think that Northeastern is doing a better job of playing around their side lane waves and around their
Yes.
side wave lane states.
I would agree. I think Northeastern, the leads that they're getting are gonna be more impactful, and I think they know they are aware of this Ornn and how difficult he is going to be to take down in the late game. And it looks like we are going to be heading back relatively soon. There it is. Um, and I think it's just going to come down to, at least the way I see it, maybe one or two late game team fights because it's while they're both teams are cross mapping, and we are going to see that same
Yeah,
freeze that we saw
it
last time.
it
Just give it a
happens.
second.
Yeah, it should resolve itself here in a second. So hopefully that one won't be too big of a deal. But yeah, as we head later into the game, once again, yeah, the Ornn could present a problem. If Paldy Springer does keep getting caught out, that could also pose an issue.
That's when they've been getting their leads is having the top laner fall and then them just being able to get
Yeah.
something off of it.
And I mean, this Jace is currently sitting on a full Manamune, on a full Yomu's, and right now Paldy Springer is only really sitting on a Profane Hydra. And while I would still give Paldy Springer pretty good odds in that 1v1 matchup just based off of the way
Aatrox.
they've been playing and Aatrox as a character, being down
Blue
roughly
team's turret has been
2,000
destroyed.
effective gold spent is a giant bummer.
Yes. And Jace continues to just side lane and grab turrets, and it's dangerous. So it is going to be a tough one here for Miami, and it's just seeing if they can respond to a lot of these plays that Northeastern is making. Because if you just let the clock keep ticking up, it's going to be really difficult. Because you don't have the leads on any particular character that you would need in order to make big changes and kind of carry these fights.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. I mean, the Oriana 0 and 2 does have pretty good CS. We do see Ornhorn.
Okay. Oh no! Oriana misreading what Ornn's there, getting the Seraph's Embrace popped again by the wall bang into the into the tower there.
Yes.
A bit of an unfortunate situation for Oriana, losing basically a 400 health shield in what could be a later team fight. I gotta say the choice of building Canic Raccoon.
That item is still so broken.
So busted, even
Yeah.
after a couple of nerfs.
Hold
And Paldy
on.
Springer has ulted in, although Evil Lobster is trying to flag and drag his way out. Flashes away from HN's Pike
ult.
ultimate there. Great awareness from Evil Lobster from not giving away several hundred gold.
Yeah, gonna give a kill over to the Aatrox. Nothing really game changing though. No real objectives are gonna be up very soon. So yeah, it's not like it's the end of the world or a huge
Yeah.
comeback for Miami.
And I think that they're in the bot lane now on the split push against Aatrox. He's still going to try to push up and still going to try to press some of this advantage as he's got that forward ward line. It's going to give him a little bit of safety as far as knowing where Evil Launcher is lurking. And as he still has that full item advantage there, while, Paul D. Springer is only really sitting on the Caulfield's Warhammer and the pickaxe, not a lot of opportunities there, apart from, I think that Profane Hydra may be a little bit over, but it's still tough to deal with. Now Jace is going to be bringing a Brutalizer to the fight as well.
Yeah.
So just a full item ahead is a giant bummer, as we have to see the flash here out of Valencilla getting caught out a little bit there in the middle of mid lane.
Yeah, not exactly what you want to see. But
the flag and drag here onto the Pike is almost going to kill, but the flash Q from NTSP finishes him off.
What a
Woo! And as we were saying earlier, Ezreal can have some difficulty at times finishing off the kills that he works to get, but committing the flash and the E there off of the Mystic shot is going to be able to kill off that Pike. Though we are seeing a teleport here from the Ornn. Has Ornn ult available, but they're going to decide not to go for it, even though they could layer Ornn onto Jhin ult to do a bit of poke damage. All of Miami's members are at full health.
Yeah, and if that Q flash Q would have missed, it would have been the saddest thing ever.
Oh yeah.
So I'm thanking my lucky stars that we got to see that, because I've missed many of those in my time. Whether it be on Ezreal or whether it be on any champ, because it is just the worst feeling when you miss a flash skill shot.
Yep.
But it is the best feeling when you hit it. So.
I mean, and I will say, from the side of the Pike there, I think generally don't try to play around that, because
hold on, oh my god,
man ult into the J4 stun. But unfortunately, Quiger's going to go down to the Pike ult, and now Jhin ult is layered on top of it. The Pike second R is going to go down and miss. Paul D. Springer gets the reset there off of the low health Pike, almost kills the Ornn as well, but he's just too tanky with that Sunfire Cape. Is going to take down all of Miami with this Jace having so much gold, just running rampant through the backline as well. Unfortunately, even though Paul D. Springer is able to get a crucial reset, if he had gotten the one off of the Ornn as well, maybe that becomes a playable fight 1v3 for him.
Yeah, this dude is so, I mean,
he's so far ahead.
We saw it before the fight. Paul D. Springer landed his full combo onto this Ornn. He maybe took not even a fourth of his health.
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't even look like he was doing damage for most of it. So even taking some really heavy damage at the beginning of that fight, he was just able to buy time. And then Jace snuck in from the side and was just able to get pick after pick after pick. And it looked really good for Miami. The Shockwave engage was great. The Jarvan cage landed where it needed to be, but just not able to match the Jace in terms of just pure damage. Yeah, this is kind of the worry that I had. And now we're going to Ornn did hit level 13. He's going to start to upgrade those items. And it's scary. I imagine that he's going to look towards the Jace. He's going to look towards the brand. And it's going to get stronger.
Now, does Paul D. Springer win a late game fight that,
no.
this Jace doesn't have to...
Wait, hold on!
Living with just about 5 hit points total, Paul D. Springer gets the solo kill onto his lane opponent. This monstrously fed Jace falls, drops a lot of the embers, and neat.
Yeah, and they're going to start up this Baron. I think Pike is a bit suspicious, going to drop the control ward. Ornhorn's going to come in, get the knockup. See, she is going to be picked by the...
but getting the one-man knockup, I guess, getting the flash out of the Pike is pretty important there. And they might actually finally be able to chunk this Ornn down, although he still has flash.
He's gone.
Yeah, so he still lives. Absolutely not concerned at all. And yeah, both sides are going to shake hands and go home.
Yes. Everyone's done with school. They're going to go. Not going to find that Q onto Pike. Just looking for any kind of Q. Not going to find anything. Good from Pike to kind of suspect that they would start the Baron after that pick. Going to be able to effectively neutralize it with the Ornn, taking down Miami support.
So currently Quigert on Orianna has opted to go with the Leandries. I get the thought process of, oh my god, this Ornn has got 5 bajillion health.
Yes.
He's only got 1 MR item, so I can cook him a little bit with a
No,
little
it's
bit of consistent damage. But yeah, he is limiting his ability to pop this Pike before Pike can do meaningful things. Like, Oriana's job right now is to kill Brand, is to kill Jace, is to kill
yeah.
Jhin, is to kill Pike before stuff happens.
Let's think about it this way. Instead of thinking about can I kill the Ornn, let's think about can I kill everyone but the Ornn? So he's alone, and then what are they gonna do? You
And
know,
I mean,
it's more impactful to get
yeah.
the damage dealers because then it's just an Ornn, man.
I mean, you can't really walk through him though, because the way in which they can layer Ornn ult off of Jhin ult, creating that much chaos and that much of a ruckus, basically, gives a lot of leeway for Jace to go in and do melee mode things. It creates a lot of leeway. Okay, Jace is getting caught here into the J4 ult. Gets caught by 3 people. They burn the Ori ult and the J4 ult to kill this, this once again, still monstrously fed Jace off the map. I think that's a phenomenal pick there for Miami. Once again, another mistake out of Northeastern's top laner gives Miami an opportunity to get a little bit further into this game.
Yeah. And we see the damage starting to come in from the Karma. Got Malignance completed, and her support item does percentage max health damage. So yeah, it is good. Really good pick from the side of Miami, but they can't really capitalize a ton on stuff on the map. There isn't too much to look for. Can't really start a Baron after that. So Evil Lobster just going to clear his camps. Pike may be looking.
Goodness. Evil Lobster here getting caught over the wall by this Brand, utilizing his range very well, but the Triumph forces out both the Ornn and the... but, I mean, I gotta say, well played here by Smurf, the challenger Northeastern jungler there, utilizing the Brand jungle range over the wall, you know, using the lack of vision there from Miami alongside this Pike to put Evil Lobster in a very awkward position. And I mean, credit to Miami for being able to turn around and get a trade kill in response. But as this game goes forward, killing Pike is going to be a little bit less and less impactful.
Yes, and I think the unfortunate part about that is, you know, while you do get that great pick on the Jace, oh, hold on.
A lot of resources burned here trying to take down Valentina, but Valentina just burns her flash and gets out of time.
Yeah, you don't mind.
Oh, but Paldi Springer is a little bit out of position here. Gonna have to try to find a way to 1v2 into this Ornn and this Jace, but I'm a little bit worried that this Ornn, and Pike, yeah, they're just gonna create, there's gonna be too much CC.
Last hit for Pike,
Yeah.
not gonna share the gold.
A little bit unfortunate there, but I think his ult was on
CD, yeah.
So,
Are gonna cross map, get onto Soul Point here for Miami, really good. Kind of a sacrificial
Baron
lamb.
for Soul Point. That's
Can they rotate in time? They have damage on this Baron. It's looking like it might.
Ooh, Baron damage might almost take down the Jace though.
Hold on. They are getting in the vicinity. The smite was missed, but they aren't probably, yeah, they probably can't catch them. Unfortunate, not an amazing trade from Miami. You do want to be closer to Soul, but this giving away this Baron is going to give Northeastern so much pressure onto the map. Evil Lobster going to be slowed up here.
All right, and here comes that Ornn ult layered on top of the space once again for a lot of chaos to come through. Paldi Springer gets into the back line, tries to take down this Jhin solo, but the rest of Northeastern has been given the space by Miami's front line to just turn and peel, which means that Paldi Springer dies basically for nothing, although I guess Jace overextended as well, goes down in the rest of Miami's back line, and now only Oriana remains to defend Miami's base.
Yeah. That is kind of a disaster, not gonna lie. And 3 members up, still remaining with Baron. They can just kind of push at their leisure here. Oriana's not gonna really offer a ton in terms of wave clear to really be able to clean out these minions. So they're probably just gonna get an inhib, maybe even more. No, but Jarvan is up. Not gonna decide to greed for the inhib, but kind of a disastrous team fight for Miami. Kind of overextended there. Not super coordinated, and it's unfortunate. It's just kind of a layering of CC, and despite Brand not really kind of playing support this game, you know, he's still gonna do damage. He has that Shadow Flame. It's gonna crit, and it's also upgraded by the Ornn. We are seeing the Ornn upgrades start to come through. We see it on the Jhin and the Brand first.
Yeah, he's sitting on a 10 stack Dark Seal as well, having only died once this game. I would not be that surprised to see that get upgraded to a Mejai's, just because, you know, getting an extra 10% move speed and I think like an extra like 30 AP that could spiral into even more if he plays the rest of this game intelligently. Like, I think that's a pretty good deal. Although he is opting instead to go towards the Zanya's Hourglass, which I think is also a very
Smart.
intelligent decision.
Self-heal.
Yeah,
Never be bad.
once again, I don't think that there's necessarily a bad build for Brand at the moment, other than maybe like
Ludens.
yeah, Luden's like full AP, but like even then, even then.
Even then. So Miami kind of just have to stall and try to stop the bleeding until. Oh, hold on. The flank here.
The pike, yeah, the pike pull onto Valencilla takes her out again.
Oh, and that's another crucial pick. This just could be game.
Yeah, unless Holy Springer can find some sorts of resets here, which he might be able to, as one goes down. Ezreal chunks the brand down super low as well. Holy Springer's exploring for stuff, but the Jhin fourth shot chunks down Ezreal. They're getting a lot of free damage onto these towers, and unless NTSP can find some sort of miracle here and be a little bit more aggressive, very close to being the end of the game, although one tower remains. Yeah, once again, I think Carry is going to get the kill. Oh, never mind! Karma, Mantra Q is able to take down Jhin. That's a big damage source for the side of Northeastern. He's going to keep that game alive for just a second longer.
They had an open nexus, bro.
Yeah, this is a uphill mountain if there's ever been one. But at least the game is still alive because of the greed of Harry there in that last fight.
Yes, not deciding to just hit the nexus there is kind of the saving grace, but it again, looking kind of doomed. But, you know, anything is possible, and if Miami plays really safe and doesn't decide, I mean, it's going to be very hard to try and contest for objectives now. Again, with that double in-hit pressure, super minions just keep coming, and, you know, if they send too many members and commit too many members to try and contest an objective, again, TPs from the Jace, it could just be over like that. So, put in a really tough spot, Miami.
Well,
and that just might.
I mean, this could be a load of nothing, but it's also, there are a lot of skill shots that are missing that probably wouldn't be meaningful if they did hit.
Yeah.
But they're still missing.
And
so that
here
feels
comes
bad.
Jace on the top side. Who's going to match him? Someone's going to have to back.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Miami is still in a team fight mentality. And
that's a pick.
Yeah, they are able to get the pick onto the pike, but guys, in response, and Jace is running wild.
Yeah, I mean, it's
he might get punished for this, but
no,
the phase
he's
rush,
so fast.
Yeah, this phase rush is going to give him a lot of leeway to try to survive this. And without a Shurelia's on the side of this Karma, opting to do this this very damage-focused Karma build, you know, Miami doesn't quite have the speed to get into it without also dropping the Jarvan ult onto Jace's head.
Isn't able to get the soul as planned. If they weren't able, if they didn't drop the 2 inhibs, maybe they could contest some of these objectives. But like we said, it puts them in a really tough spot. So fortunately for Miami, kind of have to play back on the back foot here, and mate from Northeastern to maybe slip up, but it's looking unlikely. A lot of the item spikes for Miami just haven't been hit yet, and probably it's just going to be kind of impossible to match. You know, the Jarvan's not going to provide a lot in the late game, and while Orianna I think is very strong, Ezreal can be quite useful, and you know, Aatrox obviously is kind of a machine. You're just not in a position here where you can really make the full use out of your champion.
Yeah, I mean, I think trying to adapt to the Ornn in the game by going Leandries and Bidstaff definitely put Quiggart on the back foot with the rest of this game. Because, you know, even if they're able to layer a lot of that Orianna, you know, dump all of Orianna's util on top of a Jarvan, they're still not going to be able to do enough damage to kill off these squishy members. And that is what they need to be doing.
Yeah, burn is great, but it's a burn for a reason. It's slow, it's sustained, but it's not a burst. So, and that's Baron, and it's looking like this game might just come to a close. And TSP in a really rough spot here. Probably just going to get pike ulted. Oh, does
pulls himself.
Yeah, does kind of weirdly dodge it, but yeah, Aatrox picked, and this is just a victory lap for Northeastern.
Yep. I mean, we'll play the Northeastern here. Once again, I don't think the build things are the deciding factor. I think that there are a lot of factors here that led to Northeastern taking this match overall.
Yeah,
And it was very, very close in the early game.
it was.
But
Kind of
I,
spiraled out of control in a lot of those team fights, but
yeah,
well played from both sides, making it to a 3-game series against the arguably the favorite to win it all. I mean, the previous champions, right?
yeah. I mean, they're up there. I mean,
Yeah,
we've got a tough run of games here in the next couple of weeks here for League of Legends at here at Miami. Northeastern tonight is a very, very strong team. We've got Ball State coming up, who are still very good. I know that they have lost a couple of their challenger players, I think, but they're still very, very strong. We've got Buffalo, who once again I mentioned at the very top of the broadcast.
a dark horse.
Yeah, in program history, and that was last year.
See if we
Uh,
can do it again.
yeah, so that would be great. But it's going to be a tough couple of weeks here. It's a bit of a rough way to start all of it, but I think there are a lot of positives to be gleaned from this performance, and I think that Miami's team fight performance overall was very, very good.
Hmm.
And I think if they can figure out some more of the side lane pressure, some more of the side lane timings, and the way to play around the advantages that their mechanically skilled players can generate, I think that they're going to see a lot of potential success here in the remainder of this ESC season.
Yes.
We are going to fall to 4-2 in ESC at the moment. Northeastern is going to remain at an undefeated 6-0.
Props to them.
Yep.
Jack, I know you're watching, my brother. I have nothing to say.
It happens. It happens. And, we will be back on Saturday at 3 p.m., barring no technical freakouts again. Once again, the Riot client has been a little bit persnickety with us on the spectating end of things, but we'll
Riot
do it again.
Games.
But we'll endeavor to put on a full broadcast again. Um, we should have more of our regular student casters here for the next one.
he's taken a
Yeah,
he's taken I mean, today is Valentine's Day, folks.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we are, the single boys rise up, the Lonely Boy
Oh
podcast. But
no!
listen, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
stay
Stay tuned.
tuned. Words are hard.
Yeah.
And hopefully you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.
Yes. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you watching at home. It's been our pleasure to broadcast this League of Legends match to you. If you're interested in finding out more about our program here at Miami University, you can check out our Varsity Esports website at redhawks.gg. If you are on Twitter or X, go to at redhawksgg. We're also on Instagram at that name. If you're on campus and would like to know more about esports, we've got the Esports Lounge, which is publicly accessible to every student on campus.
Yes.
It is open from 11 a.m. until midnight, 7 days a week. Uh, you just log in with your student credentials and you can play phenomenal games like League of Legends.
Yes, you might see a familiar face in
Yeah.
there. I'm in there.
um, and then otherwise, I hope you all have a very good night. It's been a pleasure casting for you. I am James Reach 42 Davis.
And I am Devin the Doc O'Connor.
And until next time,
This has been Miami University Esports.
yep.